Good morning, Xbox. What is up, everybody? Yes, we are up. Back for another episode number 2 of Good Morning Xbox. I'm your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom. It's Noof Nukem in the morning room, and we are ready to go. We've got a fine panel assembled again for you this week, and we might be -1 in Cerebral Paul. So, Cerebral. Our thoughts are with you, man. I know you've had a rough week this week, and I'm sure you'll be listening to this on the playback. I mean, he could join us. We never know with Paul sometimes, but I have a feeling he won't be here because he's not the kind of guy that would show up late. Not normally, I don't think. So we're gonna roll the show without him this morning, but we hope that, like I said, he's doing well and whatnot. So, like I said, Paul, the show's for you today, brother, and hopefully we'll catch up with you here next week. So, let's get into the panel. But just before we get into the panel, let's get these super chats out of the way because they come in early. Big shout out to our amazing chat, as always, coming right back here for the second week in a row. A lot of familiar faces. Draven Arrows in the house. Doggy Dog is here with us this morning. We have got Casket Repair. We got Boogeyman up in here. Caper Grant, what's going on? Fast Back is in the house. What's happening, Fast? Princess Zelda's here. Joe Dunmore's in the house, and our first super chat comes in courtesy of our NLG brother in Fastback. He drops $10. This is sorry. I missed the last couple of shows, but here now while at work on Sunday. But this show will make it better now. Awesome new Xbox show, new with some great panel. Some I have not really known, but great to meet you now. So thank you so much for that, Fastback. Greatly appreciate it, brother. The next super chat comes in courtesy of Doggy Dog. There you go. Happy Sunday panel and chat. $1.99 up in the super chat there. So thank you guys. Off to a wicked start this morning. A lot of good people in the house. Like I said, Princess Zelda is here with us as well. Who else did I miss here? A few people. Spider-Man 356. Yes, it wouldn't be a podcast with him in the chat. There you go. Mr. Kima is here with us as well. So there you go. Share this out. Hit the like button. All that good stuff, guys. We greatly appreciate it. But anyway, let's catch up with the amazing panel, and I will start, I guess, on my screen. It is to my right. Technically, I guess it's on my left shoulder, depending on how you look at the screen. So we're going to go with Mr. Scrub. Nurse Scrubs. How are you, my brother? How are you today?
Oh, doing great. Might have to check you for that cough later on. Shout out to the panel, also the chat every day for you guys coming out with us on Sunday early in the morning. We're going to try to give you our best thoughts on what's new, what's going on, and have a little fun, have a little laughs, and maybe try some of that smooth voice as we talk about topics of maybe Dungeons and Dragons, the new Mass Effect, and if you try really hard, can you lick your own elbow? All these and more on Good Morning Xbox. Back to you, Noof.
There you go. Somebody said Mass Effect. Nobody said it a sexy scrub nurse, right? I guess we're going to be talking about Mass Effect a little bit indeed again today, as well as it is sort of Mass Effect week, all essentially. So there you go. Cool Kat Terri is in the house. Cool Kat, what is happening with you? How are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. I've just been hanging out, working on some special projects of my own, playing some Watch Dogs Legion for the most part, and I got a very, very special game to show you guys all later for the Indie Showcase. So stay tuned.
Excited to see that, indeed. And our next panel member, the one, the only, the XO1324, sporting some wicked-looking Xbox swag here today.
Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to cover some iOS news, especially coming from the trial in relation to xCloud and how xCloud is evolving and kind of some side effects of xCloud existing, getting some other apps in trouble at the same time.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Looking forward to that. All right, and last but not least, as I said, we've got Eternal Shaddai. What's happening, bro?
Good morning, everyone. This is your compatriot, Eternal Shaddai, ready for some news. A lot of things have happened during this week, so I am ready.
Yes, it's been a lot of different things. Not a huge news week overall, per se, but I think there's things coming. There was a few tidbits here and there. Let's catch up really quick with the chat once again. Volter Russo, what's going on there, Volter? Glad you could make a show. We got Wild Bates in the house. We got Buddy Bates. We haven't played a game in a while, Bates. It's long overdue. We got Quietish T. What's happening, Quietish? We've got somebody else that's came in here. Boogeyman is in the house. There we go. And who else came in here? I think I'm caught up with everybody, guys. So again, we appreciate you being here. Let's get right into the first few topics. Well, I mean, let's just quickly, find out what everybody's been playing. Terry kind of just mentioned a little bit, but Scrubs, what kind of games have you been dabbling with since last Sunday?
Definitely doing a little of the Resident Evil 8. And I just love this Xbox community because actually I was gifted that game by some people in our Xbox community that I know and follow, Twitter and different podcasts. And I got sent a DM in the middle of our show last week. And so I was able to obtain that game, not all the way through it, but loving it so far. And then jumped on Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is pretty good. I'm not going to go too far into it until we get to that topic, but I've been going back and forth with that and maybe a couple of games on Call of Duty Cold War. But that's pretty much what I've been doing this week in the midst of kids, family, playing drums, all that good stuff. That's
Nice.
my games.
Well, when it comes to talking Mass Effect today, we're going to start with Terry on that later on because she's got some awesome N7 swag on there as well. So, Terry, you mentioned one of the games. What else have you been playing this week?
Yeah, for the most part, it's just been Watch Dogs Legion. I've been playing a lot of different indie games as well, checking some stuff out, trying to see if there's any good contenders for my showcase in the future. One of them that I did play a little bit of that I was enjoying is called Insurmountable. It's a strategy game. You play as a mountaineer trying to climb the mountain, and it has survival elements. It was like a point and click, and then like when you hit stuff, it has kind of like a choose your own adventure kind of feel. You read some dialogue, pick what you want to do, kind of thing. So it was interesting. I was enjoying it.
That sounds cool. I like that. It's always nice too when you catch up with people and they're always kind of playing something that's totally unique or something a little bit off the wall, something maybe you haven't heard of, and because we all pretty much expect people to play a lot of the same big games all the time. So, Axel, what's been keeping you busy? Obviously, you've been what you told us off the show, and you don't have to disclose your personal stuff, but obviously you're sort of having a bit of a rough time as well. So we appreciate you being here. That means a lot. That you can make the panel today. So what games, I guess, have been taking your mind off of things?
Yeah, so as I told you guys off the air here, that my internet went out due to some wiring inside my house. And so I went full retro this week. I don't know if you saw my Mega Man video last week. And so I just popped that bad boy back in and beat it again. And again.
Back and, I guess it's easier. Is it easier to beat though? Like now that you've probably played it a billion times, kind of deal. It's just like memory reflex kind of deal.
It comes back. When I was a kid, it took me months to beat it, and now that I'm an adult, I beat it in about 3 days.
Yeah.
The skill's still there, thank God. But yeah, now that I know it and I basically have it memorized forward and backwards, and I know which bosses to skip or how to skip, I should say, and what to kill and what not to kill, I just make it through some levels rather quickly. So yeah, I went full retro this week. I played some on my Sega Saturn. I played obviously Mega Man 2. I ended up playing a Sega Rally Championship on the Saturn. I don't know if anybody ever played that one.
Yes.
It's a quick little racing game.
Love that one.
And then once my internet came back up, all the issues started. So I basically just played some retro games this week.
Well, there you go. Good thing for retro gaming, eh? No internet or downloads required.
That's right. No online DRM.
No, absolutely. That's one good thing. We still gotta like it with the classics. And speaking of classic, the man who is classic is in the house. Eternal Shaddai. Eternal, what games have been keeping you busy?
Actually, I have been playing back and forth between Darksider Genesis, and finally I started off Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So I was pretty much back and forth, but right now I'm just trying to beat Darksiders Genesis. I'm planning to do the whole series of Darksiders so I could continue with Mass Effect. That's what I've been doing pretty much lately before a lot of errands popped up. But to keep myself, a little bit calm and all that, those are the 2 games that I've been playing lately.
Yeah, it's amazing how life gets in the way so many times. There's not enough not enough hours in the day or the week to kind of catch up with our backlogs and all these games that constantly come out. And like I say, man, people say there's no games. It's like I don't know. Like you must play every single thing that comes out and have the most time in the world because there's just so much to play. It's just we never had that problem back when we were kids.
No.
No, you didn't have the money, and plus games didn't come out like you didn't get 40 or 50 a week between Steam and the consoles and stuff like that. There's just constantly something coming down the pipe here. So I mean, heck, you could stay busy if you're an indie gamer. My God, every week on the Nintendo Switch alone could keep you busy for hours. And for myself, guys, pretty self-explanatory. Finished off It Takes Two with the amazing assassin Lupa just a couple nights ago. What a great, amazing game. I can't say that enough. Like that is a real gem, and that is one of the and also a rarity. The game come out, it's not broken. All that sort of stuff. Like I don't think we even ran into a single glitch the whole time that both of us played. Like it was almost flawless. And how often can you say that about a game? So really big shout out to that amazing developer at Hazelight for making an absolutely dynamite game. You can definitely see how their previous workings certainly helped with this game. It's more of a refined experience, and it was just great. It was almost as if we were really playing a Disney Pixar film, probably the closest I think we've ever sort of gotten to something like that. And to be able to do it with like a partner the whole way through was just an absolute blast. You'll laugh, you'll swear, but you'll have a damn good time, let me tell you that. And I've been playing Resident Evil 8 Village, obviously, and that is just an amazing game as well. I'm almost completed now. I got one more segment to go. I've been taking my time with it. Like I see people putting up their postings of their playthroughs, and it's like, they're doing speed runs now, and people are beating it in like 5 hours, and this, that, something else. But I mean, I take my time. I want to find everything. I want to experience it. Like not just kind of suck through it and go as fast as I can. Like I got nothing to prove there. I just it's a cool game. So anyway, let's get right into the topic.
Wait,
Cyber Cutter is in the house.
Dave. Are you simping for Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil?
Well, she is definitely a foxy lady. She is big. Man, just the way that just that way she comes underneath the doors, like she got a duck down and comes in, and she's all glamorous, but yet she's got that mean side, as you'll find out when you play the game. That sort of stuff. So there's sort of like a lot of variety in that game, and yet not. It's kind of weird. It's definitely Resident Evil in a lot of ways. It brings back a lot of old, a lot of new. Obviously, if you're familiar with 7, you're going to feel right at home when you play this one. So just a cool game. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much about Resident Evil and all that stuff. Let's get into it. Let's catch up with the chat one more time because Psychonauts is in the house. What's going on, brother? Psychonauts. Cyber Gunter is hanging out with us as well. Saw some other Jesse Derby's in the house today. What's going on, Jesse? HTK 360. There you go. NLG brother up in the house here right now. What's going on, brother? HTK. Man, he was kicking some butt last night in Wreckfest. Let me tell you, that was a great time. You guys missed a good one. Rainbow Six didn't go off so well last night, though. A very small showing for that. So we kind of did some co-op and stuff and run through. So you guys got to get in on those community game nights. They're a lot of fun. But anyway, let's move the show right along. Very first topic of the day is Xbox celebrating 20 years. They kind of jumped the gun a little bit, started celebrating early. A lot of you have probably seen the promotional material and sort of like the Xbox swag and all that sort of stuff. And, there's a lot of buzz around Halo these days. And 20 years, it's hard to believe, like since 2001, back in November of 2001, when the original Xbox launched, was a lot of uncertainty about the platform. It was the newcomer on the block, old school PC company, but new to the game console world. And we all know how Xbox started, a derivative from the DirectX programming that it was built around. You probably saw some of the early stereotypes that Seamus Blackley kept posting on the internet, the big giant, everybody seen that big giant silver X? The prototype, which was actually pretty cool. Can you imagine having one of those in your house? Holy diner. All sorts of stuff. So let's just talk about, I guess the first question is, how do you feel about it being 20 years? I mean, 20 years is almost as old as some of the people on this panel, I think. Probably Terry and Shaddai, they don't look like they're well worn in. I don't know how old Scrub Nurse is either, but he doesn't look very old. I think me and Axel are probably the oldest two farts outside of Cerebral Paul. So, but how do you feel? We'll start with that. It's just kind of, what do you think about all of this, the 20-year anniversary? I think last week we kind of talked about our consoles and our favorite games, so just kind of what Xbox means to you, and what you're really excited about for in the future, that sort of thing. Where do you kind of see the brand heading over the next little while? We'll start with Scrub.
I'm definitely old enough. I was 20 when Xbox started out, so we've been growing older together. Me thinking about Xbox, I have a lot of memories, and the one thing I like about with Microsoft and Xbox, which sometimes people might say, oh, it's just a shooter box, or it's just this or just that. The games and being able to play with your friends, being able to have that online capacity, being able to do multiplayer games, remembering LAN parties. I know some of you might not understand that, but just sitting there, everybody grabbing their little 19-inch, 23-inch TVs, coming to a house and just hooking up cords all in a room. I've had many times with me and my friends. There's 6 Xboxes sitting in one bedroom. Everybody has a TV sitting on a cardboard box or a shoe box, and playing Halo and different other things. It always brings me good memories of playing with friends. That's why I will always, at some point, stick with Xbox because of that. Also, something else that brings to my mind, because Microsoft and Xbox had a problem. They decided to fix it, and I will always stick with them is in the 360 era with the red rings of death. The customer service, the Xbox 360 was so great. The games were great. I went through 3 Xbox 360s and didn't care, because the second the ring came out, just put it in the box, shipped it back, and I had another one. No questions asked, no problems, right back at my door in like a week or so. And the customer service with that, they knew they had a problem. They ate the cost of that. They were rewarded in the end, especially by getting loyalty of fans for that. A lot of companies, when they have defective products or have a problem, they will kind of skirt having the responsibility on them, but Xbox jumped on it. They saw what they needed to do, and I'll always be thankful for that. But yeah, like I said, the multiplayer aspect, them being a software company to start off with, kind of helped bolster them that in the beginning. And just great times with friends, kind of like what we're doing now. It's just an upgraded version of when it first came out. And I just love that. It always brings a smile on my face thinking of those days and those times with friends, passing out on couch after playing at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and all those good things. Dorito dust all over your controller, all that good stuff.
Dorito dust.
Double XP.
So, Scrub, let me ask you this. What do you think over the course of the 20 years has been Xbox's crowning achievement, their defining moment in your mind?
In my mind, the defining moment, like I said, as far as being able to pull off Halo, like I think I said it in the last podcast. I started off playing Halo on PC, and for them to be able, as a starting company, and not having that much games and studios, to be able to acquire that and have a base to build on everything else. Because everybody knows when Xbox first came out, you had your games, but once Halo came out, it just drew fans. Plus, you get the multiplayer. I can still remember, I can see the Blood Gulch map in my head right now. And them having a base to build their brand upon. That's why Master Chief is so regarded, and Halo Infinite, everybody is anticipating that,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're going back a little bit to the visual styling of it.
Right.
And I think that's why when they first showed some of that gameplay, it was, you know, people over here, I love the gameplay, I hate the visuals. Some people love it, some people hate it. It was so divisive because people really care about that game. Like I said, a lot of people, when that thing first came out, that was their first connection to Xbox. So for them to be able to get Halo, to be able to build upon that through the years, put good stories, multiplayer, and to keep a great fan base, that allowed some of this stuff. Because if they didn't have Halo, uh yeah, they had other games, but I don't know how big Xbox could have gotten. I can't see them not having Halo and say that Xbox is where it is today with their fan base, the money that they're bringing in, Game Pass, all that stuff. If you don't have Halo, I don't think they're a big name like they are now.
Oh my god, you can tell I'm tired, eh? Old Dragonheart Yobi's in the chat and says, yeah, I titled the episode wrong. I called it Gaming After Dark instead of Good Morning X. Oh my god, eh? Wow. Oh, somebody slapped me already. Oh my god, really? Come on, egregious error right there. Oh my god, I gotta wake up and get with this program. All right, well, thank God you can go back and edit that real quick. But thanks for pointing that out. This is not Gaming After Dark. Well, it's giving me an error. I don't know what's going on. Perhaps I can't change it on the fly, but I'll change it later. I guess at this point it doesn't really matter. Let's get over to Cool Kat Terri. Cool Kat, how about yourself? What obviously what does this 20-year anniversary mean to you, and what do where do you see Xbox kind of moving in the future, and their a crowning moment, their crowning achievement, I guess, for you that really kind of keeps you invested in the ecosystem?
Let's see. For me, I feel that when it comes to Xbox, like the most iconic thing for me that kept me to stick with the brand was Gears of War. Because I didn't get into Halo. It just wasn't for me. I'm sorry, Axel. I know your heart aches, but yeah, I couldn't get into Halo. But Gears of War was the game that they had that that just is like, yes, this is where I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna keep playing for years to come. And they had through the 360 period, they had a lot of great exclusive games. Like I said, like Mass Effect. Mass Effect was an
Yes.
Xbox exclusive.
Yes.
For
A
the
true
first
exclusive.
game. Yes. So I mean, so those it got me there, and then like playing Dragon Age and like so many other great games.
Mhm.
So defining moment though, like I don't really know. Like I would say it's either going to just be like Gears of War, or maybe I would have to say like they've kind of like really like taking those risks to expand the brand beyond the console. So I would say maybe the fact that they're going more into like Game Pass and pushing to play everywhere instead of being so focused on just being a console. I think that is a huge leap for them to be doing that, and it's very much a Microsoft move to do that, because that's how they. I mean, that's why Windows is like the number one used platform across the world. Now they're trying to do that with Xbox branding, so that's pretty big. So I wish them all the best, and I want to see what comes next for sure.
Absolutely. Great answer. We got another super chat coming in with our good friend BitCloud Gaming. And BitCloud says, morning, guys. Salute to the homie Cool Kat Terri. Well, you got a fan there, Terry. Looks like that's awesome. Good stuff. And thanks for that, BitCloud. Greatly appreciated. Yes. Hello to everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic. Maddie Burns in the house. What's going on, Maddie Burns? We got to finish that Dead Space, brother, here one of these days. We'll get there. Man, we've been at that game, I think, for over a year. Just we play like once every while and get a little ways, and then we don't play for a while. It's funny, but that's going to remind me of my answer when I get to it. But let's get over to more answers. Dragon Wolf is in the house. What's going on, Dragon Wolf? And let's get over to Axel. Axel, how about you, man? Like I said, what do you think about the whole 20 years gone by just like that? Where do you see Xbox going, and what do you feel is their crowning achievement?
Well, Noof, back in my day, we used to get our information on these things called magazines, right?
What?
Oh,
What's that?
I remember reading about the original Xbox on Electronic Gaming Monthly, and they
yes.
reported something very odd to me at the time, and that was that Xbox was doing focus groups before the launch of the Xbox. They were actually studying how people game. And one of the things they noticed was that everybody had their consoles on the floor because the cords were never long enough.
Hmm.
And another reason they put it on the floor was because people would walk by and they would trip on the cords and the console would come flying down.
Hmm.
So Xbox gave you, I believe it was a 9-foot cord at the time on the original Duke, and it had a breakaway connector, if you
Yep.
remember.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
And I
yes.
remember using
Wow.
that breakaway connector many of times to save my Xbox, either by accident or some other reason, right?
Hmm.
And so to me, that's what Xbox is. They care about the way you interact with their ecosystem, with the Xbox, right?
Hmm.
And Xbox has always been just ahead of the game in innovation. Like if you want to play the future, you're playing on Xbox. Xbox was the first ones to get hard drives into systems. Xbox was the first one to do on live, Xbox Live, right? They were the first ones. Technically, the Dreamcast did LAN parties first, but they didn't do it as good as Xbox did it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
with the Xbox One, when they started to focus more digitally, and everybody hated all those things. Well, guess where we are now?
Yeah.
And even the competition is on it, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Xbox. Even now, xCloud. I love the fact that I can stream my own Xbox on my phone and stream from somebody, I guess, an Xbox out in the ether,
Hmm.
and just be signed in. Xbox did flat backwards compatibility in a way the competition just hasn't.
Yeah.
And to me,
Mhm.
that's what 20 years of Xbox has brought me. It has brought me the future. I feel that Xbox moves the industry forward in a very important way. Even if you don't want it to move forward, they will.
Mm.
So that, and even things like Game Pass. I know you hate Game Pass, Noof.
No, I don't hate Game Pass. I don't like when people say I hate Game Pass because it makes people think there's something wrong with me. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Like,
I know.
no.
Mhm.
I know
I
Game
don't.
Pass is not for you.
I choose not to use it. Yes, at some point that may change, but I don't like the word I hate Game Pass because then people are like, "No, if you hate, what's wrong with you?" No, like because I do applaud what they're doing, and I think Game Pass is amazing and it's fantastic value, and I'd be an idiot to say otherwise, right? Bottom line.
Mhm.
It's just for me, I choose to continue gaming in my ecosystem the way I prefer to do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. The biggest downside for me is it costs me more money, and I have to get up off my big bum and change out discs constantly. But outside of those two things, if I can live with that, then my gaming is the same as everybody else.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry about that, Noof.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
But yeah, even things like Game Pass. I mean, who would have thought that a gaming subscription model would take off?
Hmm.
I mean, GameFly was around where you would rent things, really didn't take off too big. Blockbuster and places shut down. I know you can rent games on Redbox, but the
Yes.
option is
Mhm.
very limited. And so, yeah, who would have thought that something like Game Pass would be so industry shaking? So to me, that's all Xbox is. Xbox is the future, and I'm glad I've been around for 20 years on the Xbox, experiencing amazing games like Halo
Hmm.
to
Yes.
drive forward, and Gears, and Mech Commander, Crimson Skies, a lot of these older games that were around that are no longer around. Even Forza, like who would have thought when because I know when Gran Turismo came out, it was like the racing simulator.
The game. Yes.
Like if you wanted to take racing seriously, that was the game to play.
Hmm.
Nothing else came close at the time on console. And then Xbox decided to basically, tackle it head on with their own brand, which was Forza. And now, some would argue that it's better. Some would argue that it's not.
I would
And to
argue
me,
that.
and to me, it's great because they're pushing each other forward. Like I said, like Xbox, I believe, is driving the industry in a very important way. Whether you are an Xbox person or not, I think you need to realize just how important Xbox is to the industry and has been for the last 20 years.
Nice. Well said. Eternal Shaddai, how about yourself, man? Take us down memory lane. 20 big years. You know what? Like I said, what do you expect from the brand moving forward? What do you feel has been their crowning achievement?
My goodness, 20 years of Xbox. Boy, the only the only era that I changed a lot of Xbox was the 360, but 20 years. It has been a really good ride.
Mm-hmm.
From experiencing for the first time the original OG Xbox to that Duke, which I was pretty much introduced by it. What can I say about that? It has changed a lot since back then. I'm not as old as Scrub. I'm only 38, so I'm only 38. But the thing is that it has been a really nice ride. How Microsoft have changed the system from 2000 and the 2000 until now. It has changed a lot of management, a lot of ups and downs. Everybody have seen it, mismanagement, and followers have felt, they have felt it when it was mistreated until it went back to bat its course. And you're not the only one. I felt the same way because we gotta say it like that. No matter how you want to cover it up, we're pretty much Xbox fanboys. We as long yeah, but this Xbox have Red Ring of Death. But don't worry about it. I'm gonna get another one, or we're gonna get the slim one. We will get it, no matter what. No matter what happened, yes. We will actually protect it, no matter how no matter how you look at it, because we want that product to actually succeed. And look what happened this time. The outcome of it, how the whole technology have changed. Now we could use pretty much, like Axel said, these, now it's pretty much in our fingertips right now. So what's next? Now we're going to use it on our watches, probably. You never know. But it has been a blast for me. A lot of good franchises. I play, like Cool Terry said, when I played Mass Effect, that was my first sci-fi. It was really, really interesting. But the 360 era, a lot of exclusives, and that's something that you want from the company, to give you what you want, what your competition cannot give. Now, as a service, and just in case I'm gonna fix Axel, remember on live, that's when the streaming started before it actually collapsed. But now we have access to everything. And, that's something that we want. We have options. We have the streaming. We have, we have everything. So Xbox is pretty much close to you. And what Phil Spencer is doing right now, I'm really happy. And I'm looking forward from now to the future, what Microsoft and pretty much the Xbox division will bring to us. And first of all, games. And that's what we want. Really good game. It does not matter what genre will be.
Well said. I like it, guys. Great answers this morning. There you go. Let me just bounce through a few things here. I'm all over the place. Yeah, and for me, boy, where do you start and where do you end on this one? There is so much to say. I mean, it's been a very busy and eventful 20 years. I mean, we've saw the release of multiple consoles. We saw numerous controllers. We saw Xbox Live basically go from, infancy to puberty to now, what it is. It's almost become synonymous with Xbox, so on and so forth. We've seen Halo has evolved and continues to evolve and probably will evolve even further with Halo Infinite. And, like I said, Xbox really came out swinging. Back in 2001, there was pretty much no stop they didn't pull out. I mean, everything from big names like Dwayne the Rock Johnson coming out on stage and unveiling this behemoth console, to going out and signing fantastic third party support. Everybody from Sega was on board at day one. They basically came up with franchises that redefined the industry in many ways. From PGR to moving over to Forza. So on and so forth, to have one of the biggest and best third-party shooters on the planet in Gears of War. I mean, the fact that they came out and they have, literally now 3 to 4 established franchises that are billion-dollar sellers at this point, speaks volumes. Pretty much Nintendo is one of the very few that have those billion-dollar franchises that are almost bona fide hits the moment they land. Like I said, I could go way back, and we could get really deep in this, but I don't want to have everybody bored to death. I think we all pretty much know the history of Xbox. I mean, as far as consoles are concerned, we have to say a big thank you for the 360, because if it wasn't for the 360, it wasn't for how that, the first Xbox was amazing in every way. It just had trouble resonating. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They did everything right. If you think about it, their marketing was aggressive, their console was big, it did things bigger and better than the competition. But again, it came out late. It was the new person on the block. Nobody really knew anything about Xbox. Everybody just associated, like Terry kind of mentioned, Microsoft with Windows, and everybody was the hate train was pretty big. Well, the hate train is still pretty big for Xbox for a lot of ways, for whatever reason. But back then it was just like, well, who is this guy? Like, you're going up against Sony and Nintendo. Like, come on, you know what I mean? But the 360 really changed the way the brand was perceived, and it certainly changed the way we gamed a lot of it. So, I mean, where Xbox goes in the future, I think we're seeing the writing on the wall right now. I mean, we've seen massive changes since 2013 in the way that, Xbox came out and tried to push the system as a be all end all, like your one stop shop kind of thing for entertainment, everything with the Kinect and everything out of the box. And kudos for them. Like I said, they tried to push things forward in a lot of ways. I think Kinect, in a sense, I know some people still have a mad hate on for it, but I think Kinect, especially the second one, was almost ahead of its time. You kind of applaud what they were doing, and that's why they had so much trouble, because people don't realize that the original Xbox. Oh, getting a lot of background noise here, boys. If someone wants to hit their mic. But the original Xbox, especially with the connector, Xbox One, that whole dashboard, that whole system was built around Kinect. It was supposed to be integrated, and that's what a lot of people forget. And they kind of had to revamp that. Once they took it out of the box, they had to make a lot of changes there, I think, overall. But I thought it was a cool device. But anyway, like I said, I think the 360, you got a big shout out to that, and all the people that continue to go out and buy them, even though many of us had multiple red ring of death issues. I know I certainly did. My first red rings of death, oddly enough, came about a week. I think it almost came like right in that launch week of the first Gears of War, my most anticipated title. And that's when my system decides, hey, I'm just going to die. I was absolutely furious. Went out and got another one. Thank God I was actually in a position where I was making some good money, and I was living with my sister and didn't have a lot of overhead expenses. So like going out and buying a console was almost a second thought for me. It wasn't like, oh, I can't really afford this, I got to wait for my tax returns or something. That was like, if I wanted it, I could go get it because I had a little extra disposable income. That's something not many people have today, especially if you got kids and families. But anyway, but I think moving, like I said, writing's on the wall. The future is kind of, like I said, we know where it is. It's not in consoles. It's not about Microsoft selling the most consoles. That's a bonus for them at this point. They're happy if they can sell, the hardware. I mean, why make it if you don't care about selling it? That would be pointless, right? Obviously, the more consoles in homes means the more people have access to their product. That's as simple as that. And consoles at this point are what we call, it's the cheap and easy entry-level engagement. That's the thing, right? Because if you look at a PC that you would need today to run games very similar or better, I mean, if you got a good PC, you're still always going to have probably the most advanced option. But I mean, try to get a comparable PC today to run games in the same sense that Xbox Series X runs. You're probably going to need to spend nearly twice as much money to do that, right? I think I'm not a huge PC guy. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah,
but
you're gonna
you're
spend
not.
Yeah,
money.
you're gonna
Yeah,
spend some money.
Hmm.
yeah, you're not getting in because you got to get your monitor, you got to get this, that, and something else. Like there's this the whole package, right? So you're going to spend some serious coin. You're probably going to spend close to double, if not more, if you want to go all out and get that 4K experience. That's the thing. A lot of guys, even on PC today, they have the capable the hardware, but they don't have a display that can do the 4K and all that sort of stuff, right? Like TVs are in the homes already, where a lot of PC monitors, the 4K ones, are still really expensive and they're not very big. I mean, me personally, I'd rather be playing on my 70-inch TV than on a little 21-inch little monitor cramped up in the room, but that's just me.
But they have.
Sorry?
No, go. I'm sorry. You hit it. Never mind. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, we got a super chat though before I get to my last thought on this. Dragonheart Yobi drops $5. Halo and the NFL fever got me into Xbox. Xbox One era introduced me to this legendary community that became a gaming family that's dear to my heart. Yes, peace, love, life. Dragonheart Yobi right there, guys. Great dude. Follow him because, like I said, he spreads the positivity. He's a no BS kind of guy, but he's a great guy in the community. I always love seeing him in the chats. Like I said, one of our NLG brothers over at the Retro Renegades. He's on that podcast now. Good stuff. So Anthony Chipmunk's in the chat. Shane Tomlin, Dan the Man Cunningham. What's going on? And lastly, I'm just going to say that outside of the future, I think the crowning achievement for me has got to be, well, I guess it's soon going to be changed, but it's Xbox Live. And I say it's their crowning achievement because while they are not the first person to introduce us to internet gaming, if I'm correct, I think that was Sega, but Xbox just did it so well. Even back in the day, like it's almost embarrassing to think that the original Xbox and the infancy of Xbox Live is still done better than Nintendo and the Switch, right? Like that is almost insane to think that Nintendo in this day and age is not even up to a par with the original Xbox Live program. I mean, at least for options. I'm not talking about, like speeds and different things, but like they've got, it's like they got a long way to go, and it's just like they're ignoring that part of the industry. But I'm not here to take big dumps on Nintendo. They're doing their thing for a weird reason, whatever the reason is. They just don't want to invest in that infrastructure, and perhaps in the long haul, they're saving a pile doing it. They know their console sells because of their games, and at the end of the day, that's really all a console should sell for is games. But Xbox Live changed the way we play games. It took the LAN parties from the living room to all across the world. We today these podcasts probably wouldn't exist today in the same way that they do if it wasn't without playing games online and getting to know people and getting to engage. It comes with a lot of stuff. Like it's for a lot of the good reasons, there's bad ones out there too. I mean, there's a lot of bigotry. There's a lot of nasty stuff that comes with the anonymity of hiding behind an online profile, a name, stuff like that. But that has been around, and unfortunately, it's going to be around for some time. I don't see it going away. There's always people that just love to hate, and I don't know why. Like my mom always said, it's easier to be a nice person and to love than it is to hate. So why people get off on the vitriol and putting other people down and worrying about where you come from, the color of your skin is, and all that stuff. And Xbox has paved big ways in that too. If you look at their staff, the people they hire, a lot of the diversity now and through their programs and stuff like that, they're doing major moves in trying to make sure that it's not just the vocal white community that's constantly represented. We've seen a big turn in the way games come out these days with more female characters at the lead. You're seeing more diverse lineups, and it will continue, I think. So that's good on them as well. So, like I said, man, it's Xbox Live, because without that, like, I think it really changed the way that we game. I mean, it was Xbox Live and the easy, quick consumption of games that ultimately led to Game Pass, and obviously Xbox wants to take the fight to a different level, and they're bringing it out, like I said, with the services, because in hardware, yes, it's hard to compete with another company that is more established across the world. Xbox is very strong in North America, and there are a few other places as well where it does good. But certainly in the Asian markets, Xbox continues to struggle despite their best efforts. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it off on that. But it's been an amazing 20 years. And I think as November comes, I would like to kind of go back to this, and especially Halo, because without Halo, would Xbox be where it is today as well? Because that was a redefining first-person shooter. that continues to evolve. Like I said, I think most of us here, it's near and dear to our hearts, the majority of us. But for some people, like I said, there are a generation of gamers coming out through that don't even know who the Master Chief is and the backstory that goes along with it. So, and Xbox and Master Chief, what can you say? He's green. Goes along with the motif, the green Xbox. Cool stuff. Any further thoughts, guys? Anybody need to jump in, or everybody's good?
I think what needs to be said has been said. Everybody had their different points covering, and it's just great listening to different perspectives, how everybody is looking at these games and what it does for them. So I'm just glad to hear everybody else's perspective as well as mine.
Absolutely. Everybody came up with something different. I love that. And that's why we have different people on the panel. That's what I hope to get as the show progresses. Lots of difference of opinion. Hopefully a few good arguments once in a while too, because good arguments are good. You can't, we all agree that if you got a podcast full of yes people and everybody should, yeah, that was good, man. Yeah, that was good. Things get kind of boring. And we all know that we all have differences of opinions and we're not all going to like the same stuff. So good stuff. Hey, Night Too Shabby, what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by the podcast. Casket Repair still hanging out with us as well. Caper Grant, what's going on? Good times last night, Caper. Indeed. All right, let's move along. Let's find the next topic of the day. So speaking of celebrating things, and I'm going to let Terry take the lead on this one a little bit because she was the one who brought it to my attention and seems to be very excited for this one. And that is Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. I think I got that right, Terry, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, that one is coming out day one to Game Pass. Some of us may recall some previews a while ago. I remember watching a video of it. I just didn't really give it the time of day per se. So tell us a little bit more about this one, Terry, why you're super excited for it, and how big is it to get a game like this, and one of the most revered RPG-esque titles, I guess you could say. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is probably older than people on the panel. It goes way back. It spawned not only video games, but books and board games, and you name it. So obviously it sounds like you're a big fan. And where does this kind of fall in the scheme of things, Terry?
Yeah, like Dungeons and Dragons, I think came out in the 70s, right? I think like in the 70s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like yeah, it's older than me. So, but no, for this new one, I'm excited because most of the stuff I play is RPGs. I don't do the tabletop, so I'm sorry, I don't know much about D&D on the tabletop side, but I do like playing the video games when they have on like Neverwinter and things like that. They had some good ones. So I'm pretty excited for Dark Alliance because we haven't really had a video game adaptation for Dungeons and Dragons in a while. They tend to update, different versions for the tabletop side. So getting a new addition to the lore and like the storyline within like the video game universe is fantastic for me because this way I can still enjoy it. And I'm a big when it comes to co-op games, and this one I believe is going to have like 4-player co-op. So excited for that. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 4-player. Don't quote me though. So I'm super excited for that. And I believe this one might be in third person. I have to double check. I can't remember if it was third person or if this one was isometric. Usually they like to do isometric with these kind of games, but this one I think they were doing third person, which got my interest even more. I can't remember. I look at so many different games. It's hard for me to keep them all apart. Apologies, but
Fastback says it is 4-player co-op, so that's a huge bonus.
Huge bonus, especially since the big trend of probably within the last maybe 3 years is all the new games that have come out that are co-op or have always been 3-player, and it irks me. It super irks me when they do that because I think they want to copy Destiny's 3-player model, so everybody's been doing 3-player, and it's like I hate having an odd number, man. Stop doing it.
Yeah. That's because you play Turtles all the time. That's why.
Yeah, so it's like what? And you always have that one buddy. It's like I want to play. Well, you can't. We only have 3. You're out. Sorry, you're not my friend anymore until this game is done. All right, it's rough. It's rough. So no, this game looks fantastic. I was going to buy it day one, and then when they went ahead and they broke the announcement this week that was going to be on Game Pass, I was like, Xbox. Big job, you guys. Like, so awesome.
Spencer did it again.
That right there, that's what I love to see. I love to see people excited.
Xbox, coming in here,
Yeah.
flexing. Good work, Xbox. But no, so I'm super excited with that. And, all the D&D nerds are going to be flipping out because now they can play it and they don't have to worry about dropping the money in case they're worried about it. Because some RPGs can be are risky when you get into them. Some are good. Some have really bad controls and mechanics, and they're just not any good. So this allows some people who are maybe new to this, either new to playing the video game versions, or just new to the series altogether, a chance to play it safe, which is great. And then, of course, buy it if you love it, because you'll get get that discount through your Game Pass stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. I'm so excited. It looks
That's
amazing.
I love it. I love seeing that excitement. You can see it right on. That's one thing I got to say about the camera. I'm not a big fan of seeing myself on a camera. I'll get that. But see, you don't get that excitement quite the same with seeing Terry's reaction live in the flesh in the chair, pumping the fist like, yeah, I love that. So that's why I guess we'll continue to do the cameras, and I'll try not to fart on this podcast as much as I can. So, hey, good fart breaks the monotony once in a while, right?
There you go. Yeah.
If you got gas, let it pass, right? I might be called. Yes, I'm going to start my own subscription service called Gas Pass. How about that?
There you go.
The internet, half of the internet is fart jokes anyway, so.
Oh, man.
Don't bypass it.
Yo, Darth Vicious is in the house. What's going on, my brother? How are you, sir? Good to see you here. Anybody else want to take the floor on this one for Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance? I mean, and how cool it is to get another, anticipated title on the service.
And I'll go ahead and talk on this one. So, my cousin and I bought this when we were younger on the Xbox.
Oh, wow.
So let me tell you, this port was awful. This game was made for mouse and keyboard, guys. It was hard to target. It was hard to kill on this, but we played it anyway. We played it all the way through, and we got the second one going years later. So I am a huge Dark Alliance guy. And Terry, on that announcement video, how metal was that? The rock music and everything.
Love it.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'm a sucker for that stuff. Like, I'm a huge sap when it comes to like metal and rock. Like,
yes. Not only did they do one of my good games here, but they also did the metal, which I also love metal, and it matched my excitement. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it, Dark Alliance!" And then they announced, "Oh, Stadia," and I was like, "What?" Stadia, and I wasn't too happy with that, right? But of course, Stadia fell through. And actually, one of my questions was, what's going to happen to Dark Alliance now that Stadia is kind of on the downtrend? And here comes, Phil Spencer rolling high on his D20 dice and getting us some Dark Alliance on the Xbox. And man, I cannot wait. If it does go, I believe every Dungeons and Dragons game with the exception of Neverwinter, has been isometric. Because even the Divinity, which is also based off of the Dungeons and Dragons formula, is isometric. So if they're going third person on this one, I kind of am looking forward to it because that lets you get more into it, kind of the way Neverwinter did. I don't know. So yeah, I really hope that this one does third person over the shoulder style. But no matter what, cool. I better be able to see my armor.
I agree. I don't know. Like sometimes you got to switch up the view. Sometimes the isometric top down is pretty cool. I guess it depends on the way you're going, what type of game you're going for. And I guess traditionally for co-op games, isometric views are probably a little bit easier, I think, to do overall, just because you don't have to worry about how everybody perceives the camera angle because it's kind of all from a set down view, right? It's kind of a, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, hey, Gay, join us. Wasn't sure he's going to be here today, but the man himself is in the building. Cerebral Paul, he heard about Dungeons and Dragons. He's over there dusting off everything, so he's in the building. What's going on, Cerebral?
Not much. Sorry about that. I woke up and went 5 more minutes, and it was an hour later. I don't know what happened. So yeah.
Well, that's okay. We just thought you weren't joining us today because I know, like I said, you've had some crazy and stuff going on in your life behind the scenes. So
hasn't been a good week. So
no.
But other than that, since actually a good time for me to jump in. I think one of the reasons they do always with the Dungeons and Dragons D&D type games, they've done the isometric, It
Mhm.
gives you that tabletop feel.
Mm.
Because when you're playing on a table, that's what you're dealing with. Over the top, you've got the little, the squares or whatever that you're moving. So this feels like that. But yeah, with these kind of games, as long as it's a good game and it's pretty fair to the rules, I hope it's good. Really, seriously, I'm looking forward to it personally. Plus, it's
It
day one Game Pass, but which for me is good because I can't
Yeah.
afford shit right now. So it's yeah.
the
Well, we'll go at it
isometric.
together, Paul. You and I, we'll guild up. Let's do
Yeah, that's it.
That's a good point in a sense too. Like I can't afford, stuff right now. That Cerebral Paul said, because that's another beauty of Game Pass, because a lot of games too, especially games that are lesser known, it's got to be a huge boost for them to sort of get an instant community, right from the get-go, to get that publicity, to get those names out there. Because like you look at a lot of games that like like even like Xbox Live Games of Gold, for example. Some of these, they do put really good games on there every once in a while. But by the time you get those games, a lot of us have either played them, passed them over, forgotten about them. The hype train is gone. And when you get games like Dungeons and Dragons, Dark Alliance in their day one, and people can play it right out of the box, it builds hype. It's almost like self-promotion in a way that people don't even realize. It's like, this game is on there. People get the buzz going. I mean, you look what Game Pass really did for Outriders. Come on. We can all see that Outriders got far more attention, far more buzz, because it was part of that service than it would have got if we just went out and bought that game. Because look, when Outriders first came out that week, I bet you I had more people playing that game than I ever saw playing Call of Duty. And that's saying something, because normally Call of Duty's come out that first day, it's like, oh look, there's 40 odd people playing Call of Duty. And I saw like people playing Outriders like crazy, and I was like, wow, like this is massive. And don't think that Game Pass didn't have a lot to do with that. So
No.
that's a really good point right there.
And the other side of it too is, if Outriders had come out as a pay for game with all the glitches and bugs that it had, it wouldn't have been given the piece it's been given. Basically, people actually, I think because it was on Game Pass, they were like, yeah, it sucked. I'm going to wait till they patch it. And they gave it a few days or a couple of weeks, and they went back to it and they went, okay, this is pretty good. This is great.
Yeah. Now the guys over at Cyberpunk are probably wishing, geez, we should have probably taken that deal from Microsoft and put it in day one.
Exactly.
They're probably like, no, Microsoft, we're fine. I think our game will do just fine on its own. And Microsoft's like, all right, and now you're like, oh boy.
I'm actually waiting to play Cyberpunk because my character V, I'm definitely going to play as a female V, which is fine. But yeah, I'm waiting on Cyberpunk to get patched before I played it, because when I was playing The Witcher, I didn't play The Witcher till years later, and it still had bugs in it. I'm like, oh man, if this is any indication of what Cyberpunk is going to be like, I'm going to wait. But man, you can ask my wife, to this day, I'm like, should I buy Cyberpunk today? And this is a daily thing. Should I buy Cyberpunk today? Have they patched it enough? So forth and so on. Well, so I'm definitely waiting because of the bugs.
I think the only reason, okay, that's not really, at this point, most of the bugs are gone. I mean, also at this point, most of the bugs primarily affected old school, or the Series X, or not the Series X, the One X, not the Series X, because I really didn't have many of the problems. I had some weird graphical glitches and stuff, which was to be expected at this point. But most of those are long gone. I think the only reason a lot of people are holding off now is because they're waiting for the big, the big upgrade patch, which will hopefully come by the end of this decade, a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Chase Jones in the chat says, Chase said he played Cyberpunk on PC from day one, and it was never that hard to play. No, but you're one of the few in this community that really that I know that was playing it on PC, and PC certainly had a lot less issues from day one, just because it was obviously built around that hardware and and that sort of stuff. And like I said, they went with the top version out of the box. But when you had the console, especially if you're original Xbox One owner, like, boy, go back and play that on the S. I don't know if any of you guys should try playing it on the S, but apparently it's pretty clunky. I played it on my One X, and let me tell you, it didn't run anywhere close to what it runs on the Series X.
Right. Yeah.
I just know that the Stadia version was the best version out of all of them. It had the
Oh,
I kind of heard that too.
Linux is so stable.
oh,
Stadia had the best version for that. It was pretty funny.
shots fired. Oh, wow.
I do have a couple of things I wanted to say based on some of the conversation. I kind of need to rewind a little bit because I didn't get a chance to jump in. But when it comes to the for the isometric stuff, another thing that I feel like why a lot of the RPGs like to do it is when you start having a lot of characters on the screen. A lot of them are doing a lot of different like spell casting and AoE and things like that. There's a lot of stuff happening skill wise. So you need to be able to see what's going on and how far your circles are stretching out, so people know where they need to stand. So the isometric view really helps with the skills. So there's that, and then for the for Outriders, I don't know. Like I feel like even if it wasn't on Game Pass, I feel like with the state of what it was in, it probably would have gotten a free pass just because it wasn't an Xbox exclusive game, so it probably would have got a free pass. We see buggy games. We see buggy games all the time that get free passes, just like Returnal right now. That game has a lot of bug problems that are hurting people. They're safe, and that's getting that.
No. Okay, there's a big difference between Returnal and Outriders, and let me just say it's the console they're on. Okay, that's why it's getting a free pass. That's why it's getting a free pass.
That, but also you can look at other games too. Look at Red Dead. That was on everything, and that had a lot of problems too. That got a free pass. I mean, so it's not just the console. It's the fact that it's some games just get a free pass regardless.
Wait. When was Red Dead? Red Dead Online or Red Dead the game? Because I never had
the game and online both. The game itself was super buggy when it came out. You had horses flying in the air and stuff. Like, no, it was really broken when it came out.
That's not a bug. That's a feature.
Unicorn is that?
Leave my Pegasus alone.
There's a big difference. There's a big difference in having graphical glitch bugs that are just kind of hilarious than the kind of bugs that Cyberpunk had, which basically rendered the game unusable. I mean, if you guys try to play that game at sub 20 frames a second, it's almost like it's too annoying to play. It's just like it's like having lag in a game, just, and then you saw a game, where the game would shut down. I mean, I don't know, on my One X, because I was trying to play it on there. I wanted to play it on both, and on my One X, it would just constantly shut the whole thing down. My console would go back to the dashboard. Like I get in the elevator scene, and then as soon as it started loading, boom, kick me right out, and I like uninstall it, reinstall it. I don't know what it runs. I think now it runs pretty stable, but my God, like for the first while, there's a lot of people could play Red Dead. Yeah, just some of it was kind of funny, and that's the big thing that people got to remember. Graphical glitches, I think, in games, we're used to that. Almost every game always has that weird bug. Assassin's Creed Unity comes to mind. People remember the face graphics wouldn't show up and eyeballs are popping. But it didn't make the game unplayable. It just made the game hilariously funny. You're like, okay, it just ruins the immersion. Okay, people are disappearing, and they look like they came for that. What was it? That movie with Roddy Piper? What was it? They live.
They live. Yeah.
Remind me of those aliens.
I love the eyeballs. I love the float eyeballs. Yeah,
and the teeth. That was hilarious. But yeah,
State of Decay 2.
Oh, talk about buggy. It's still buggy.
No. Me and my friends love when we're driving and we hit a pebble and our car goes flying. Like, I don't know why. We find it so hilarious. We almost try to make the bug appear on purpose.
Hit a pebble and you fly a half a mile. What?
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's so funny.
But I do agree. I do agree that there's a difference between issues with a game where it's just bugs and then when it's unplayable. But there's still the free passes that go around. Capcom got a free pass with Devil May Cry. What was it, 3 or 5, or whatever the newest one was for the PC version? They forgot to give the players the exe file on PC at the launch of that game. All right.
Wow.
And no one they didn't get you didn't hear them getting put on the stake or anything for that. That's a huge mistake.
But that's a relatively easy fix too. Oh shit. Okay.
But could you imagine buying a game day one and you go to play it and you can't even boot it up because they didn't give you the flipping exe file?
Can you honestly tell me that if Returnal was on Xbox, that it would be getting the same pass that it's getting on Sony.
Well, good. You know what? The good example there goes Recore.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the best example there.
yeah. But it's hard to say. It all depends. I mean, because I have different views. Because I mean, we saw that Days Gone came out, and by any means, Days Gone didn't get as many free passes as other Sony titles. But I don't know. Like, I feel because I think Returnal as well, because obviously, it's that the narrative, right, of PS5 being brand new and people wanting to have that next title to brag about until the next big game of the year banger comes out. So like they're really pushing this one hard. Like I said, I read a few reviews, and it's kind of funny because the reviews felt a lot like to me the reviews on Returnal felt a lot like the reviews for Death Stranding, where you could almost tell that the reviewer was like, yeah, I'm not really digging this, but I'm going to try my damnedest to make sure that I spin this in a way that makes the game look really favorable. But at the end of the day, you can almost get that underlying message. You know what I mean? It's like, because perhaps they're paid. Perhaps there's a lot of, I told you guys, like I said, I used to work in radio, right? I used to work in radio, and I know how this is. Like, I can't go down the mic on a radio thing and go, you know what, that burger joint down the street is really bad, but they're paying us to advertise for them. See how I'm saying? Like, all these companies, you got to be very careful, because even though the reviewer tries to be unbiased, their boss is looking down your neck and like, these guys just paid us big money to promote this game, and now you're going to trash it on the site, which could potentially cost them thousands of sales. And of course, even if people like it, it's that negative stigma that goes with everything that they don't like, oh, that guy just reviewed it poorly, so this game's got to be garbage, that sort of thing. So anyway, I don't want to get off topic here, but yeah, like, I mean, I'm glad there are people enjoying Returnal. It doesn't look like a bad game. For me, it just looks like a game that I think I would swear at profusely, and I've had enough of those games.
Yeah. Another thing to consider is, remember, Cyberpunk is still not back on the PS Store. You still cannot get Cyberpunk.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yep. Dang.
I do know when it comes to like fans and games, they kind of behave differently. Xbox, if they have a good game or a bad game, you're still going to have fanboys that are going to rag on it regardless. But then when it comes to Sony, if they have a good game, they brag like crazy. But then when they have a bad game, they just go quiet. Like no one, they don't want to talk about let's say like Predator Hunting Grounds being a huge flop.
Oh yeah.
Or they don't want to talk about, what was that All-Stars game that came out and then no one played it. So then it would
Crash All-Star.
And then it went to PlayStation Plus or whatever, so like they don't want to talk about that stuff. They just go quiet, but so it's just interesting how the fans behave differently.
Anything less than an 8, anything less than an 8, it's like, oh, that I hear the sound of a toilet flushing.
Why is that? Why is anything less than an 8 considered bad? Like,
because
sevens are great.
Most Xbox games
that are 5s that I love.
Most Xbox games don't pass 8 according to Metacritic.
But supposedly we don't support it, and that's the reason why a lot of the things is like that.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got that from, but okay.
I think the perception is 8 and above is 8 is great, and 9 and 10 is just like it's just how people, especially if you're going to invest $80-$90 in a game, I think that's where the perception is. It's like if it's 8, 9, or 10, it's almost a must buy. But anything below that is kind of like, like it's just, I don't know if it's worth that money. But we've seen 7 games before. Like, I mean, Rise Son of Rome, I think had lots of notorious 7s, and my God, it was one of my favorite games this generation. So again, it's all about how we look at the way games are, and whose reviews you take for face value, because because there are people that I look up to, and I know that 9 out of 10 times when they review a game, I'm like, I'm probably going to like this game because they liked it, and I know what their tastes are like. And there's other people you're like, I can't trust that guy because that guy doesn't like this game, and I love those games. So you're just like, yeah, I'm probably not going to go with them.
I think some of it also is some people haven't been gaming as long, or they're so used to, I only play AAA. Like, you would talk to some people and an indie game to them is a 4 or 5 just because, oh, the visuals aren't like I wanted, or but so it's up to the player, and especially influencers or people who they follow. A lot of people are like lemmings, just follow the person that's in front of them. You know, I'll only buy a game if my other 5 friends bought the game, or my favorite YouTube person bought the game, or that's the biggest, you know, catchphrase or whatever in the news is this game is awesome. So, I'll buy it because everybody in the world said it's awesome. But if there's a game that is bad, somebody will not even own the game, and then they'll get online and say, "Oh, this game's horrible. Have you played it?" No. I just know it's bad. That's why I haven't played it. Yeah, you get a lot of that.
The only review site I honestly trust right now is Siege and Gaming. I kid you not, because Ains and those guys, you know, they don't they don't half-ass their reviews. They don't partly do the game and then review it. They wait till the day one patch. They complete the entire game, so that you may not see a review from them for like a few days, weeks, or whatever.
Well, you know, like, look, like for me, for example, I'm a small YouTuber. I'm a small YouTuber and I do not have one single thing right here now that was given to me by a publisher, developer, et cetera. And those are always the ones I'm wary of, because you see a lot of the big YouTubers, they got their chairs, they got their mics, they got their camera, they got this. And I'm sorry, no matter who you are, when you start getting freebies from these companies, you're more likely to be a little bit more forgiving to them, because pretty soon that they won't be giving you too many freebies if you're like, yeah, they just give me this free controller, but this thing's a piece of junk. You know, like, I think you're going to get another free controller anytime soon. Probably not. See how that works? They just tiptoe around it. That's the thing. They'll tiptoe around the bad reviews, the parts they don't like, to make it favorable. And you always got to be wary of that. And it would probably happen to me. I'm not going to sit here and lie that if Microsoft started sending me stuff, I wouldn't be a little bit more like, wow, this is so cool. But at the same time, it was given to me free. You know, like all those people that got those free Xbox Series X's right at the gate. Like, so you're going to really give 100% honest review if you don't like it or not. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's probably less likely. And
I would, which is why they don't send me shit.
I agree.
You know,
that's where they run into trouble, though, too. I can't remember the correct term. I think it's called yellow journalism. I could be wrong, but that's when they go ahead and they give you stuff, and so you're more inclined to, you know, follow a narrative because they gave it to you and you get to keep it, like what Noof is talking about.
Well, it's also pay to play too. That's pay to play.
Whereas the way they're supposed to do it, you know, so you don't get this biasness, is when a company gives you something, they're supposed to give it to you, you're supposed to review it, and then you're supposed to send it back. Most companies don't do that. They just let the creators keep the stuff. And that's when you run into that, you know, that journalism stuff where it's kind of more biased because they want to keep getting the freebies that they get to keep. But
Terry, I have a question for you, or probably for the rest of the panel. What is the time frame when you get a copy to review something before it gets released to the public? Do you guys know by any chance what's the time frame for that?
Just Gordon touched on that subject.
I probably missed it on that one.
A while back. Usually the review period for most journalisms is the first 2 weeks, as far as clicks are concerned. After the first 2 weeks that a game releases, your clicks just go way down. So most journalists and websites try to get their reviews out the day of or within 2 weeks. I think Metacritic shuts down submissions at about 30 days. But as far as traffic is concerned, Just Gordon says it's about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So is that the reason why probably a lot of the games that get reviewed, pretty much majority of the time, they're low?
I don't think so. You know, there's some reviewers who are going to say it how it is. There is bias. I do think there is bias, but you just got to find the reviewers that kind of have a track record of, no matter what, I'm going to give you an honest opinion.
Yeah.
And some of those reviewers have been blacklisted, and they've talked about how they've been blacklisted by companies for giving bad reviews.
Yep.
And ironically, the fact that they've been blacklisted is the reason I listen to them more.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, see, I remember that back in the day, EGM actually had an article about this and publicly stated this back in the days of the magazine era, where they said publishers send us games well ahead of time, you know, with the expectation, obviously, to, you know, get your reviews up and stuff like that. And they said they knew for a fact they had people threaten to pull their advertising from their magazine if the game scored less than a certain amount. They had to have a certain range, and if they didn't, they were threatened. And EGM publicly addressed it and said, we respect our integrity. Our reviewers will give the reviews that they think a game deserves. Hence why EGM I always like, because they did multiple reviewers, and rarely did you see 10, 10, 10, 9, 5, 5, 9, 5, 5. It was 6. Sometimes it went from like 5, and the next guy was 9, and you're like, oh. And then they did a law of averages, right? And I like that. And they stood up for that, and they said, but you know what? The downside is, guys, is gamers are going to get the true reviews from us, but we're going to get a lot less games to review. Like GameSpot, or what do you call it, GamePro, and those other suck-ass magazines were getting all the games ahead of them because
I got busted though.
Yeah. Right? But that's what happened. The other companies were getting the games ahead of EGM because they were like, well, EGM's going to score this realistically, and the other guys are just... And of course, even GamePro used to go from a really good... If I'm correct, they used to go from an actual review system, and then they started going with this stupid... What was it? The 5-star rating or something like that? Because you can't really differentiate the review. Like, to me, like a game... 4 stars out of 5. It doesn't give you as accurate a representation as a game that goes on the 1 to 10 scale, in my personal opinion. Right? Oh, graphics of 4. Graphics. Well, what does that really mean? Yeah, they're good, but it's just, it doesn't narrow it down enough. So in GamePro, you'd see so many games that were like 4, 5, 4, 5s. Like, and you're like, you know, it was just skewed. Right?
Well,
the way they did it.
That took away their responsibility, basically.
Yes.
Took away
Pretty much.
I have one thing, might be a hot take on reviewers, but it kills me the most when I'm seeing someone review a game, especially if you're reading articles ordered on YouTube. If you don't play that genre, don't review that genre.
Hey, yep.
It kills me.
Like I called that out just the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I hate that so much.
In our group,
long live nurse.
Yeah, I'm the first person kind of shooter guy. I play RPGs, but I might not finish them because it's going to take forever. So yeah, if I get on a game that takes 60 hours to play through, I'm going to say this sucks. It gets on my nerves. I don't like the quality. You have to travel too far on your mount. This game is, but then I'll turn around because I play first person shooters, and it might be the worst Call of Duty, but because I like the shooting games, oh man, this game is great, and I might overlook 15 other things because I enjoyed it more than playing a MOBA. So I think these journalistic sites, yes, they have more than 10 people that review games, but stay in your lane of what you like. If you don't like to play a certain style of game, you're not going to review it well, and you can see in their articles
review from software games.
You can see in their articles.
Though it can be done. I feel good.
It can be done.
This is not my thing, but I can see why people like it, blah, blah, blah. And here's what I did like about it. Here's what I don't like about it. And you'll notice a lot of times what they don't like about it is a generalization of why they don't like that kind of game. And those are honest. Those are honest reviews. Those are, hey, I reviewed this. I did my time. It's not like the one I compared it to on Twitter for somebody was Roger Ebert, who notably detested horror movies. So anytime he had to watch a horror movie and review it, it was like 1 star, half a star, thumbs down. God, I hate this crap.
Yeah.
Even though it was a good movie, because he really just didn't like the genre at all.
Yeah.
So he really had no business reviewing, horror movies.
Hey,
I
Mike Mullet is in the chat. What's going on, Original Next Level Gaming?
Hey, Mikey.
What's going on, brother? How you doing? Invader Gaming is in the house. What's going on? HGK still hanging out. Some great chats, great comments too coming into the chat. Especially HGK has been dropping some really good knowledge up in here this morning. And the other side too, you got to be careful with this. A lot of the reviewers, a lot of times too, they're giving they're giving special codes. So that way they can turn on perks and basically like cheat codes. So they can get through the game, they can get through the front to the end. Because I mean, my God, can you imagine how long it would take to do reviews if everybody played those 100-hour RPGs? I don't think it could happen realistically. Not in
That's
a proper
the reason
time
why
frame.
I asked for the time frame. That's the reason why I asked for the time frame.
I was going to mention, I was going to talk to that as well real quick.
Okay.
The time frame has shifted. When they did magazines, they used to get early release stuff. You'd know it was early release stuff. They'd get it a month or whatever. Can you imagine if they got a game a month or two before now?
It
Holy
wouldn't be
crap.
finished. Yeah, it
Yeah,
wouldn't
they
be
had to wait for
finished.
that next issue printing.
Yeah.
But
But as long as the
and-
review is good and that
Yes.
person
Yeah.
actually play it like the right way,
right.
it's
Yes.
worth it.
But
Yeah,
now,
like validate your review is basically
Correct.
what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
but now they sometimes they may get the game a week out before launch, and they internally they feel a pressure. I got to be the first one with my review, and I got to be the first. I got to get those clicks. It's like, dude. Again, that's why I'm going to mention Season Gaming. They don't play that game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it
Yeah.
he said straight up, we wait till the day one patch because we know it's coming.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, nowadays you should just expect it. Don't be surprised when you get this big, 120 gig game and there's a big patch day one because
Always.
it's just gonna happen. I hate to use the term,
And I could be wrong, but I find
new normal. It's just the way it works.
I could be wrong, but I find, and especially with high profile games that don't get reviews out before almost the day of release and sometimes after, always make me skeptical. Like, here's this game we've been talking about for 3 years. It's hyped up to the yin yang, and it's coming out here in like a week, and nobody's reviewed it, nobody's said anything. You're just like, where are the reviews? And then they basically come out either like right on the button or like the day after, or sometimes a week or a couple weeks after for people legit work in progress reviews and stuff like that. I was like, what is that? Like, is that your way of stalling so that way 100,000 unsuspecting customers buy your game before they go, oh man, this thing is a real turd nugget? So I don't like, because like, you notice the really good games, the games that really score high. Like, I remember like the reviews for God of War, for example, they were out early. They were out before the game even come out, which happened to drive sales. But anyone that's getting low scores, you don't often see those released very early.
And not for nothing, but there are times that when a game releases and it gets bashed, when years pass and they're trying to replay that game again, for example, Rise, usually they'll say like, well, not for nothing, for the day that it was released, we gave it, I'm just saying, a 6 or 7, but when you replay it, it's not like that. It's supposed to be like an 8 or a 9. It's just the gameplay is a little bit, too basic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that because it's like, so that means you never gave a chance at the first, at the beginning. Now, after 2 years, 3 years past, now you're pretty much backpedaling what you just said. See, that's something that I've seen.
Rise has definitely had a resurgence.
Yeah, that is correct.
Definitely had a resurgence.
But anyway, guys, we went from Dark Alliance coming to Game Pass to a huge, almost over half an hour talking about review scores. So, and that's partly my fault too. But let's get the show back on track because Terry's on deck with her indie spotlight. So, Terry, just let me know when you're ready to roll here. So we got to move the show along, or we're going to be into that 3-4 hour territory this morning. We still got some topics to get into. So let's just there you go. Here you go, Terry. The floor is yours.
Don't grab that.
I don't want to see that guy. Oh, which one I got to grab here? And who did we miss? Somebody. Oh, Terry's gone. Where'd you go?
We lost Terry.
Oh, we lost Terry.
We'd like to thank Terry for being with us today.
The Indie Gamer Spotlight. It's called the Black Hole.
The Cool Kat
country. It just swallowed Terry.
Click the wrong button.
Cool Kat went through the alley.
Sorry, you guys. I have to click a lot of different things, so forgive me on that one. All right, so no, I shared my screen, but then it was doing like this little buggy flickering thing, so I tried to close it, but I hit the wrong close button because I had 2. My mistake. All right, so forgive me, everybody. Once again, I'll try this again. Hopefully I don't mess it up the second time. Okay, so welcome, everybody. So I have another great game that I'm going to show you all this time around. This one is called Drake Hollow. I'm going to show you guys the trailer, and then I'll go and I'll talk about it. Give me 1 second. I have to switch my audio. I won't have a microphone for this part. So give me 1 second to do a quick flip flop.
Take your time, man. This is not like TV broadcasts. Or we don't have to be on the button. Okay, I'm kind of digging this already.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually played parts of this. It's pretty cool.
Pretty much, you can create your own base.
Yep.
Interesting.
And you're expected to. Yeah, it's actually like I said, it's and it actually gets deceptively difficult as well.
Oh, really? Well, interesting.
It's one of those basic mechanics, but wow, type of things. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
All right, so there you go. That's a quick trailer for that. You can go ahead and flip back to me.
All right.
That's Drake Hollow. Now, this game is very, very special because it also has 4-player co-op, which I was touting that earlier. 4-player co-op, yes. So you can play the game. This game is an Xbox console exclusive. All right, and it's also on PC. You can get it on Windows 10 or through Steam. It's what was it? $30 if you go the PC route, but Xbox peeps, it's on Game Pass.
Dun,
So
dun, dun, dun.
So you can go ahead and you can, enjoy the greatness that is Drake's Hollow. It is fantastic. I did a full playthrough of this game with my friends. Oh, we played every day because we just couldn't get enough of it. It was so much fun. Pretty much the premise of the game is you're a kid, you get approached by a raven. He's like, yo, you want to go on an adventure? You're like, yeah, I want to go on an adventure. It's boring here. All right, he's like, yo, go through this magic door. You go through this magic door. And then it changes to where basically you have these little vegetable people that you saw. Those are the drakes, and they're in danger right now because their world has been struck by these feral beasts that aren't supposed to be there. They've invaded their world, and they're making them go endangered, and you don't want them to go extinct. So you're like, yo, we're gonna help you little dudes out because they're so you go there and you got to play through the different seasons. Spring, summer, fall, winter. And as you go through the seasons, it gets harder and harder. And basically you go around, you got to collect materials, you got to fight off the feral beasts, you build up a base for the drakes to live. It's not your base, technically, it's their base. So you got to put things in it that they need to survive, their food, their entertainment, places for them to sleep, places for them to eat or to stay warm in the wintertime. Things like that. So it's so your survival elements are for their survival, not yourself. So you're basically like a parent trying to take care of a bunch of little orphans, and you got to keep them alive. The combat's really fun. They have a lot of different weapons you can play with. They showed a little bit on there. You had like this rail grinding. I think you could do on there. Basically, you put these crystals up. You make like your little chain to link different supply vans that were stranded on different islands, so that the supplies can get transported to your base, and then you use those supply lines to rail grind across to travel around very, very quickly. It's good fun. Highly recommend this game, especially for those of you who have kids. And you've been looking for a great game to play with your kids. This is it. Highly recommend it. Lots of fun. I mean, I played it with myself and my buddies who are all like, older adults, and we had fun. But yeah, great game for those of you who have been looking for something to play with your kids as well. So definitely check it out. Great, fantastic game. And you also have the option to do single player if you want to just rough it on your own. But do co-op. It's such a great experience. It's a great game. It's a fantastic game.
I love it. I love it too. And you're pointing out the co-op stuff because I don't think there's enough of it out there that people can play together. So great highlight and another indie spotlight with the amazing Cool Kat Terri, guys. Hope you're enjoying this segment. I love hearing about these new games, and one of these days as well, maybe we'll try to get the indie gamer on the panel because to come in for a guest, because that guy really lives and breathes the indie scene, and it'll be a fantastic conversation starter with Terri for sure. So great stuff there. We're gonna move right along to our next topic. This one should be just real quick, and then we're gonna get Axel to talk about some stuff, and I'm gonna refill my coffee cup here real quick. Rambo and John McClane apparently coming to Call of Duty Warzone. So we were talking about old farts. Well, boy, if you're an old fart like many of us, you probably remember Rambo and John McClane from Die Hard, if the name doesn't ring a bell. Yippee-ki-yay, M-Fo, remember those? But anyway, they're coming to Call of Duty Warzone. I don't know how, like, apparently it was kind of leaked through one of those, back end things, a lot of those cryptic codes, and somebody sort of cracked it, and then they admit it. Yeah, those characters are. So I don't know if it's going to pay DLC. I assume it's going to be paid DLC.
Definitely
But
paid.
in a first person shooter game, though, I don't know, like, does it make it? You can't see your character, so I don't get as invested that way. But I still think it's kind of cool. We're seeing a lot of pop culture the last little while crossover into gaming. We saw this hugely with Mortal Kombat, where you had the Terminator, you had Rambo, and you had Spawn, and you had the Joker. So many different genres coming into one game. So whoever wants to take this way, just kind of give us your thoughts on these two iconic movie characters from the 80s coming to, well, pretty much the biggest shooter on the planet.
I guess I'll say a little bit, since I'm the one probably plays it the most. They have been putting a lot of characters in Call of Duty, especially the last two games. One, it's just something cool to do, but the main thing is extra money. Nostalgia will get you every time. And I know, let's see, not Cold War, but Modern Warfare. I might have spent maybe about, once you look at it, $300 during the whole time that game being playing the game, getting every battle pass each couple of months, getting skins, getting new gun. Because I mean, $10 here. 3 weeks later, I'll spend $5 here. You don't realize, and then you look at it, a whole year's and passed up. Yeah, spend about $300. So it's just another way, just like Fortnite and all these other games, to bring some more money into it and keep the game going. Because before you had a lot of these skins and stuff, you would play Call of Duty and people would stay on the game, but it would start dropping off after a couple of months. But then when you steady add new skins, you're adding new maps, which technically they're not new maps they're adding now. They're just old maps from old games, and they're refreshing them. But people are buying them. And just bringing in stuff like that, because I think you're going to have, even though you have a younger crowd that are playing Fortnite and Roblox and also Call of Duty, you have guys like me, 40, who, just like in Madden, just like in FIFA, they're going to buy the game every year. This is something that's going to get them also, what? I can play John McClane? Boom, I'm in. You're going to do it. You're going to get money. It probably doesn't take them that much. Now, as far as playing, yeah, you won't see yourself, but a lot of people use it as bragging rights. They see somebody else just kill them and looking like Rambo. What are they going to do? They're going to buy it so everybody can see them Rambo killing somebody, or, doing the little finishing moves. A lot of times with the finishing moves, that pays off. So it's another way to bring money. I guess because they're trying to make it fun, I'm down for it. I don't buy everything, but it's all money. It's business. Nobody does these things for free. If they do it for free, it's because they're going to get money from you another way. So that's what I got on.
Yeah.
And I just want to come out there and let Call of Duty know that I'm available for the game. If you want me, you could get my character from Commando back in 1985. We'll get the Matrix in here. And then they want to come out there, so that way I could go up against Rambo and I could put him in his place.
You've just answered my question, because that's what I had on mind. I'm like, what's next? Predator, because he's there, but he just actually answered my question there.
Well, what's interesting to me is you talked about it, the whole, young people playing like Fortnite, getting those skins and stuff. I don't see this going to that same audience. I mean, the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old isn't going, Dad, I gotta have this Arnie skin. It's just not going to happen. It's so, yeah, they're probably going to sell, but it's going to be to people in your age group, not going to be people, probably not going to be people in my age group. We don't play that shit. No, I mean, I'm a whole nother generation. I'm like, which
Paul's
is kind
like,
of scary to think about.
where's John Wayne? Come on.
See, that I would do. That I would do. If you give me the Duke,
Yeah.
or you give me Dirty Harry,
Dirty Harry.
and his killing move. Do you feel lucky, punk?
Mhm.
Well, do you?
Yeah.
Give me that.
Hey, I'd settle for Clint Eastwood's old crusty character from the movie Gran Turismo.
There you
Oh,
go.
wow.
Yeah.
Gran Torino. Was it Gran Torino? Remember that one?
Gran
Yeah,
Torino.
yeah, yeah.
I love Gran Torino.
That was a great movie.
I wouldn't
Or-
be surprised if they add James Bond there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be
Or
surprised.
in Red Dead 2, give me Clint Eastwood from Unforgiven. That
Wouldn't that be
guy
cool?
was
Mhm.
murderous.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
kill
great.
you. If you come after me, you shoot at me, I'm gonna kill you. And then I'm gonna go to your house and I'm gonna kill your family. And then I'm gonna burn down your house and I'm gonna kill your dog. I'm like, hey, this guy's awesome. All right. And you watch all these people slick back going, shit, he means it. He's no way messing with that guy. No.
Any further thoughts? I mean, like, it's not a big topic. It's just interesting. It's just characters. I think it's Call of Duty's obviously branching out and trying to get more DLC funds, because obviously they've given up the Warzone for free to a lot of players. So obviously they're going to try to add more to it so they can keep the cash flow going, because everybody just playing for free is not making them a ton of money. It's getting lots of exposure, but they want to get those skins and those guns and those characters, because that's where the money's at, right?
They're seeing skins work for the other games, but again, I don't see these skins being a big pull.
Wait till Halo comes out.
Yeah, aren't the Fortnite skins kind of like really expensive? Aren't they, like, for some of the characters?
No,
Yes.
like end up being $20.
$20.
Yeah, $20. That is correct.
Yeah.
Oh boy, man!
There's a
the
lot
thing is
on
that-
pot.
And the thing is that sometimes on the battle pass the guns are not really good, so it all depends.
Yeah.
$20, I can buy a pile of games for that. What the hell?
And they're tying up all they tie up all the Marvel characters, they tie up all the DC characters.
Mhm.
So that's gonna leave Call of Duty with we got Fred Flintstone in here, guys.
Oh, that'd be funny. Some obscure characters. Yeah, get John Wick in some games. That's what I like to see.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We need a full-fledged John Wick game, like a real game. That would be
nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
John Wick is the only superhero, or is the only hero I've ever seen reload in movies. Like in the middle of a fight. Usually there's always a pause, but not John Wick. He's like in the middle reloading.
Yeah. I love those movies. Those are great. Keanu Reeves, man. Cool and stylish in those ones. Just slick. Love it. All right. Well, let's just further thoughts. Let's move the conversation ahead. We're all good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Alrighty, so let's move over and let's let Axel take the floor here right now. I'm just gonna go refill, like I said, gonna refill my coffee cup. So, Axel, you got some obviously some news to share about, of course, the cloud gaming and so on and so forth. So the floor is yours, bro. Just keep talking until I get back. At least I'm gonna give you the solo layout, and here you go, my friend.
All right. Well, if I run out of contact, Scrub Nurse is just going to do ASMR until Noob gets back.
I got you, brother.
All right. So this is kind of older news, but it's something I haven't talked about. And that is the lawsuit between Apple and Epic has revealed some interesting things and some fallout. A lot of people are taking collateral damage on this lawsuit. And one of those groups that was revealed to take some collateral damage was during the argument for Apple opening up its restrictions, was when Microsoft was saying that they couldn't understand why their xCloud service wouldn't get approved when similar services such as Netflix and Hulu were on there. They didn't have to review every single show. So the argument that Apple does is that every single piece of content that's on the platform needs to be reviewed. So every game needed to be individually reviewed before it goes on there. So with xCloud being a service, they wouldn't have Xbox couldn't possibly review every single game and submit it to Apple. And they couldn't understand why services such as Netflix could do it. Netflix didn't review every single movie. Obviously, there's a rating board for that. Well, games have rating boards too. The ESRB, if I'm not mistaken, the Electronic Software
yeah.
Ratings Board.
No,
Yeah,
you're correct.
ESRB,
You're correct.
owned by the NSA, right? So
Owned by the NSA.
I'm sorry, not the NSA.
Wow.
Oh,
we went dark. We went full.
You just put us on the list.
Yeah.
That's
Owned by the USA.
Well, I could forget about flying when I move now. Okay, well.
Sorry. So games are individually rated, and that was Microsoft's counter argument, but Apple's not having any of it. So during the lawsuit, it's being brought out that services such as Netflix are there, but also another service such as Shadow is on the service. And Shadow is a cloud service that lets you emulate lets you connect to your entire PC, the full Windows operating system. And people were using it to load up their Steam and play their games over the cloud. So it was being used for very similar purposes, although it wasn't intended for that. And ironically, when Xbox pointed this out to Apple in a email exchange, Shadow got banned from the store, from the iOS store. Shadow got shadow banned. So that's kind of the fallout that's coming out of all of this, is that in trying to get Apple to open up to xCloud, other apps are kind of getting dragged in by accident, if you will. They're just using them as an example, and then Apple will ban them. And Shadow has since been banned twice on that. And the fight is still ongoing. Obviously, they're skirting that now through the Safari browser, but being an iOS xCloud test user and using the browser now, it's not the same. It's slower, it has more lag, and I don't think it's going to take hold the way they hope for it to do. But everybody knows that the main reason that Apple doesn't want xCloud to go on their system is because of money. Xbox does not offer xCloud renewals or Game Pass Ultimate renewals via app purchases. And I think, if the platform holder doesn't get their cut, they really don't want to put their service on there. And so they're trying to go around that the nature of the app doesn't allow that. But that is the xCloud news I have for today. Hopefully you found that a little interesting, at least so far.
Let me speak to that real quick. One big difference between xCloud and Netflix and the like, Netflix doesn't have microtransactions. And that is a big deal. I think that's where the difference. I'm not saying I agree with what Apple's doing. I'm just saying that is a notable difference. Once something like xCloud is on the service, Microsoft can keep making money and the publishers can keep making money via microtransactions. And if they do it in game, bypassing the Apple system, Apple doesn't see any of it. And Apple is not going to have that. Netflix is a one and done purchase. You have access to all of Netflix, but they're not out there selling stuff either. If you know what I mean. Wow, I killed the room.
No, you're good. You're good. I think everybody was muted. I totally
Nuke is muted.
Oh,
Yeah. No, you're
sorry.
good.
Hey, I'm back. All right. Sorry.
There you
As soon as I'll actually to say on this, I accidentally kicked him out by accident there, but hopefully he comes back.
Axel got shadow banned by talking about shadow banning.
Yeah.
He got axed.
NSA got him.
That's right. He needs a segment called "Who Gets the Axed?" Right?
There you go.
Excellent, perfect, good stuff, guys. What's going on, Pong Soul? Pong Soul, our other morning monster right there. Yes, Pong Soul with the fantastic living split screen. Him and Steel Rain, guys. If you want to kick off your weekend the right way, you get up with those guys on Saturday and get up with us on Sunday. There you go. It sounds like a relationship, right? You gotta wake up.
If I wake up with Pong Soul, I'm gonna wonder what my
But that's like a long distance relationship.
You wake up with Pong Soul. What the hell is going on here? All right. Hopefully Axel comes back. I don't know why he just the link is open, but hopefully he gets back in, or I don't see him in the. Oh, there he is. I didn't hear him coming. There you go.
Yay! Oh man, I got shadow banned. He's like, all right, enough of that xCloud crap. Moving
Terry
on.
just said.
Somebody took that
Terry just
hook
said
and pulled
that.
me right off stage.
Yeah. Well, I hit this wrong thing. I was like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden you're gone. I was like, what the heck? So sorry, that's what happens sometimes when you step away, you don't realize what the hell's going on. You come back and you hit a few buttons, like, whoop, there we go. All right.
Yeah,
Sorry
I
about
got banned. Anyways, as I was saying, all that I reported came off TheVerge.com.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Cool.
Good
That
stuff.
was it.
All right. We got a few more segments here. The next one should not take us very long, and then we're going to talk about Mass Effect. Obviously, it came out, the trilogy, lots of people diving back into one of the most epic franchises ever. So let's first of all talk about Starfield. The word is going around. Obviously, I think a well-known name in the industry, Jeff Grubb, he kind of said that Starfield looks like it's going to be Xbox PC ecosystem exclusive. I mean, does anybody really care at this point? Is it just bitter fans that are making a big deal of this? Like, how do you feel about that? I mean, like I've said before, I'm sure Starfield's going to be a decent game. It is coming from Bethesda, but people were acting for a while like this game was going to be the next coming of whatever, like the second coming here. And we don't really know enough about it to kind of be like, this is going to be an amazing game or it's going to be a terrible game. We all saw how that worked out for Cyberpunk. Oh, this is automatically going to be the best game ever. And boy, did that ever backfire. So you can't always go by pedigree of a studio. There's a lot of different factors that play a part. So anybody can take the floor in this. I already just basically said my piece, and that is that I really don't care. Personally, it's a game I'm interested in, but I'm not like going to sell the farm on this particular game. I think it definitely could certainly draw a lot more people into Game Pass and the Xbox ecosystem if it is solely exclusive. But outside of that, that's the way it is. If it comes out for PlayStation, well, I guess benefit for those gamers. And if it is exclusive to Xbox, then it's just obviously a feather in the cap for Game Pass, because ultimately that's what they're going to try to do, is have that notoriety game, that big Bethesda title, something new as well, a new IP, and that people will come over and subscribe to the service. So anyone who wants to take this, the floor is yours. I don't really care.
Let me just start this as politely as I can. I told you so. I have been saying this for months. Nobody listens to the cripple. I swear to God. But I think it is going to be exclusive. I know people, we haven't seen gameplay, we don't care, whatever, because I'm seeing it in the chat. Like I said before, they have a history with single player games that Bethesda does not turn out crap. Okay, that's just the way it is. I trust them more with this than I do with any multiplayer crap, just because of their
well, I was going to say there was a good bit of stink around Fallout 76, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fallout 76 and ESO, but both of those are multiplayer games, and they just don't do that well, So, but I do not be surprised if in 3 weeks at E3 we see some major Starfield news, including probably some gameplay and stuff. So yeah, and I am excited for it based on their history with me personally. And I know people think I'm being stupid, but again, I told you so once, and I'm going to continue to tell you so. So
you've been told by Cerebral Paul.
That's right.
He got hyped.
All right. I'll go next. For me, I mean, I don't really care if it's exclusive or not exclusive. I mean, if it is, great. If it isn't, fine. It doesn't hurt me either way. I'll still, play it regardless. But I know there's for me, I'll believe it when I see it, because both Microsoft and Bethesda, neither one has confirmed it themselves that it's going to be exclusive. So, until they say so, it's still, people's opinion, rumors.
Well, Jeff Grubb is pretty trustworthy, really.
He's been wrong about things too, though. So, I mean,
yeah, but he feels pretty solid about this. I mean,
even still,
for him to come out to and respond to a tweet and say no, this is that's a big step on his part.
Still, for me, I do not believe it until the developers and studios say so themselves. I don't listen to any person on social media saying it. I don't care if they have inside stuff.
I know.
For me personally, if it's the dev saying it, then it's law. because that's just me. That's just me.
I've been following Starfield closely. So, like I said, wait till E3. All that's going to come out. I can pretty much guarantee it.
All right, so that's just what I want to say on that. I don't.
Yeah.
He could be right, but even still, until, like I said, Microsoft Bethesda say so, means nothing until they say so. There is the issue with I know, like, on the PlayStation side, people are saying that it shouldn't be because they, I guess, might have some sort of deal for having it as like a timed exclusive, and there could be lawsuits or this or that. I don't know.
That's Sony fanboys are pitching a fit.
I mean, PlayStation did make announcements and trailers about how they were going to have this game. So if there was any signed stuff, then that would mean that it wouldn't be. I guess it just depends. Just depends. I don't know what the contracts may have been on that deal. Who knows? Microsoft might be like, you know what, the lawsuit will be changed to us. We'll just take it and we'll keep it anyway. Who knows? They got that money. So we don't know. But
our good friend Philly Eagle drops $5 in the super chat. The game will be exclusive to the box. I'll buy it on back and pat. I'm not buying it for multiple systems. LOL. So there you go. Thanks for the super chat, Philly. Good to see you here in the chat as well. Failed Pyromancer, what's up, bro? Thanks for stopping by this morning. Like, at the end of the day, guys, like, does it really matter? Like, it's just another game to start the fanboy console war narrative on either side. Because Xbox guys will overhype this game now, and the PlayStation guys will downplay it now. Either which way, you're going to get a little bit of both. So you got to weed out the BS in between.
Yeah, I think the biggest reason why this is important is because people are using this as a litmus test to see how games after this with Bethesda are going to be coming out. Are they going to be console exclusive? Or are they going to be multi-plat? And I think folks are putting all their chips in just to see what this one does, and it's going to be a lot of the back and forth fanboy stuff. Why isn't it on my console? Or it should be on the console. It's going to be a lot of mess, and a lot of people are just waiting on the edge of their seat just to hear released on blah blah blah, or whether it's going to say console exclusive.
I do think it's hilarious though that the same people that are screaming, we have exclusive sell consoles, and now it's like exclusive. We don't need exclusives. We need this on our console. What? Stop that.
But remember, exclusive move products. That's one of the things that's one of the things. And second,
not if you listen to him now. Not if you listen to him now. Now that whole thing's turning around.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one. But also, Phil said that it was going to be a case-by-case basis.
Right.
So a lot of people are trying to pretty much dodge that, what Phil is saying, that the case-by-case basis. What it's like, for example, I know it's kind of like way before they bought Bethesda, when Deathloop is going to be over there. Ghostwire Tokyo is going to be on PlayStation, because now Microsoft could have taken that and make it as an exclusive for Xbox. But like they said, they want to, how can you say, they trying to, they have a contract, let them have the contract, let them have it. But we do have whatever is coming out in the future from now on from Bethesda. Also about the Starfield thing, a lot of people is like, yeah, they're very hyped, but at the same time, probably it's probably maybe me, but at the same time, New said it, the colossal of what happened with Fallout 76. You don't want Starfield to pretty much start and pretty much finish like Fallout 76.
I really honestly do not think that's going to happen. Given.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I hope. You know what I mean? For a person as myself, I hope not, because now this is a beginning of pretty much a really good relationship. I know they had good relationship in the back, in the past, because they created Morrowind, exclusive for Xbox at the beginning and all those things. But for a new generation, especially for a new console, it's good to have exclusive like that. It doesn't, like I said, it does matter if you want to be, in your product, in your platform, for people to actually engage in it, since everybody knows that. That's my take on the Starfield, and I hope it's really, really good. It's made by Todd Howard, and his game is pretty, it's pretty good, So I'm looking
we
forward to
know?
Starfield. I'm sorry?
Do we know if they're using the same old crappy game engine that Bethesda's been using for the last
Yes.
decade plus?
I heard
Creation
yes.
Because
I heard-
then it is completely plausible this game could be a hot mess because that engine's so dated.
Mhm.
the thing in my question is, I'm just speculating in here, but after that, do you really think they're gonna make a really new engine for their next project after that? Because, like I said, this new relationship now. I'm not saying that they're broke or anything like that, because they do have the money. But now we have to think from now to the future. It's a whole different level now. Now we're talking like, are you really gonna stick with the same engine? Are you gonna build a new engine from now on? Now that we're thinking about the present to the future.
I agree, because I know, like, before before Microsoft acquired them, Bethesda had said they had zero interest in getting a new engine. They were even going to make Elder Scrolls 6 on the same old broken engine. But now that Microsoft bought them, Microsoft might be like, no, and either have them make one, or they'll be like, no, here's some money, go use Unreal or something, like anything but that.
Exactly, because look at 343. Now they created a new engine for Halo Infinite. So see, it gives you some insight. Like, okay, whatever engine all the studios that Microsoft have been outdated and all that. Now that they're together, will they build a new engine for their new pretty much projects? Especially for this one, Starfield, and like you say, if it's built on the same engine as the before, so okay, fine, release it like that. But what happens from the now to the future? Will you build a new one to our pretty much products? That's a big question that for quite some time I be having. Every single time when they talk about Bethesda, their new Starfield, what happened with the Fallout 76 is the same engine, but now will they build another one from now to the future for that? But I am actually looking forward for that Starfield. I am actually looking forward to it.
And we got a super chat coming in from our good buddy Keeper Grant, $692. I'm having a hard time containing my hype for this game, but you guys are right. The engine gotta go. They need to use the ID Tech engine. Thank you, Keeper.
It's a heck of an engine.
Yeah, so it's not bad that they keep using the creation engine. A lot of engines are updated as they use them, as long as they can still use the base foundation of it. Rockstar still uses the Rage engine, the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine that they've been using since Grand Theft Auto 3. They've just been updating it and updating and updating, and it's worked out pretty good. Id obviously is on the 7th iteration of id Tech, and they've been around for 30 years, using id Tech. So engines aren't so much the issue as it is knowing what to do with it. And I believe that Starfield being made by God Howard is going to be pretty good. As long as it
God Howard?
That's right, God Howard. That's right, God Howard, the creator of Fallout, Elder Scrolls, those great games we all love. Yeah. If this game plays more like Skyrim, I'm all in. Where the narrative is moving and it happens as the conversations are naturally happening. And if you want to stop and listen, you can. If you don't, move along. If you want to interact, you can. If it plays more like Fallout, where it has, the wheel of conversation selections, and to me that kind of slows down the game. It's good narratively, but I kind of hope that Starfield plays more like Skyrim, in my opinion.
I saw I saw that they're trying to mix it. I'm not gonna say mix it, but I'd rather say between Outer Worlds and Outer Wilds, somewhat similar to that.
Oh man,
Unless if I'm wrong. Unless if
I
I'm
hope
wrong.
you can control your ship better than in Outer Wilds. 'Cause holy cow, that was tough. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
like I
I'm just-
said, engines, as long as they can handle it, they'll be okay. As long as they can handle the stress, the Foundation can. Only when the Foundation can't handle the stress of how big or how graphically demanding the engines become, then you want to start iterating on it and making some of the calculations part of the base code. So yeah, I am holding off on my Starfield hype, but as far as it being exclusive as well, Xbox needs to bolster Game Pass with something other than third party right now. Everybody's
I'm with
waiting
you.
for
Yes.
that first
I'm with you.
party in-house game that's going to drive people to Game Pass. Now, me personally, I love getting. To me, it felt like I got an exclusive when I got Outriders on Game Pass, even though it was on everything. I
Yeah.
felt like I got an exclusive.
Mhm.
I felt like I got an exclusive when the show came to Game Pass,
Mhm.
even though it was also on PlayStation. And Dark Alliance also coming to Game Pass day one. I still feel like I'm getting an exclusive. I think
Yeah.
the direction of Xbox Game Pass is going to be third party. They don't have to be exclusive. Yes. They don't have to be exclusive as long as they're included in the service. It makes it feel like an exclusive.
Yeah.
But everybody's waiting not just for Xbox to release a reason to get to Game Pass, but also Xbox to release that showcase to get a Series X.
Well, I'm just going to
So-
say today we celebrated Microsoft's 20th anniversary. And I'm going to say this right now. Microsoft, you got to put a little pressure on your studios to start getting some stuff out because you got 20 something odd studios. I hear everybody bragging constantly about it. That's great. That's fantastic. But honestly, you got to get some first party stuff out and you got to get some stuff out that really can show off what Xbox Series X can do because I don't want to be sitting here in the next 20 years and go, well, how many games did they release? Like 5? I mean, you gotta put a little. I know their guys creative freedom and stuff. I get that, and but at some point in time, you got to start putting some deadlines in, and you got to start putting some like a little fire under the butts because there's no reason why we've seen this much of a glut in first party stuff. I mean, the heck that Gears 5 came out and Coalition still managed to put out a DLC, and we haven't seen anything from any of these other studios. I mean, what are guys like Compulsion doing? They haven't put anything out since that game. We Happy Few. So what are these studios up to? What are they doing? Like it seems like we've been in freaking game limbo for years now. I mean, it's just the way I feel, and I get a little bit upset because it's like I bought this $600 console and I want to play your games on it, not freaking third party stuff. I get it. Like games are games. I get it, but it's time for these guys to step it up because it's the one area that they have not fulfilled their commitment in. Every other asset, and they're coming. I get it, they're coming, but I'm just so tired.
I don't get this. They haven't fulfilled their commitment. What commitment? When did they say?
To get some games out? We got no release dates for nothing. They haven't given us a single date.
We've had new games. Okay, they're not from those publishers. They're working. I see. I don't get that. Their commitment to us, the gamer. Have you been bored? Have you had nothing to play for the last 6 months?
Oh, I got games, but I want their games.
But
that's not it, Paul. That's not it. I think you're misunderstanding.
I honestly don't get this. They're letting us down. They are. I'm sorry. So you go get a PS5. Jesus.
Well, I already got a PS5, but they've had Returnal, they've had Spider-Man, they got Ratchet and Clank. They're going to have Kena out before Microsoft even gets one game out of their studios out.
That you know of. Okay.
That we know of. Okay, well, let's hope they prove me wrong come E3.
And a lot of those studios were just, the ink was just dried on it 3 months ago, dude. Seriously. You
think that? I don't know, man. There've been an awful lot of lulls since 2015 outside of the Coalition constantly pumping it up. It wasn't for Coalition and friggin' Forza.
The thing is that Xbox is all in on Game Pass. That's their direction. Everything is starting to revolve around Game Pass. And Game Pass is a subscription service. And it's just as easy to unsubscribe to Game Pass as it is to subscribe. So you got to give people reasons to subscribe. And Phil said this. They are buying studios to bolster Game Pass. Great, I love that. And like I said, I'm feeling like I'm getting great exclusives with these third-party deals. I love it, but not everybody's me.
Yeah,
Some people need
and
that
I hate
really
to bring this up
hardcore
and remind
reason
people.
to
Some
subscribe.
of these delays are because of COVID. Some of these delays are because after the fiasco with Halo, they're like, shit, we need to get, we need to upgrade some of these engines and stuff to show off what the new console can do. All of that takes time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think once Xbox, puts starts firing off on all cylinders, puts all those rounds in the chamber, it's going to make not having a Game Pass subscription all that much more difficult for, the 3 billion gamers around the world. Especially when they're giving you many reasons.
You're saying they need to push deadlines and stuff. I bet they are, because this is the 20th anniversary. November is the 20th anniversary.
I am an engineer, and I got to tell you, engineering without a deadline is not engineering. We have hard deadlines to meet, no matter which branch of engineering you have. And sometimes, everybody's crunch this, crunch that, blah blah blah. Okay. But the program, we have a Gantt chart. I don't know if anybody knows what a Gantt chart is. It's a chart that tells you where you should be, when you should be, and you assign leaders to get you to those points.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard because some projects are over ambitious, but it is whoever's leading that to keep that Gantt chart in front and to update it as necessary. If you're not making a deadline, you got to update that Gantt chart to stretch that deadline out.
And the project managers, if they're doing their job, that's part of it.
This idea of like, crunch. I don't crunch every day. Most days I work my 8 to 5 with an hour lunch break, however I please, as long as I meet my targets. Some days I'll meet my targets within 2 or 3 hours, and sometimes I am like, I can't meet this target unless I work some OT, and I understand that. I'm a salary engineer, so I don't get paid overtime. Right. But I negotiated overtime into my salary, knowing I would have to. So you have to get these, crunch this, crunch that. If you're good at negotiating your salary, which I'm assuming most people did negotiate their own salary, you negotiated OT in it, because if you've been engineering for a while, you're going to crunch. It's just the nature of the beast. Engineering is creation, and creation is hard because you're trying to create something that doesn't exist. You're taking an idea and making it reality, and that is difficult. So, you have to have, and a lot of times I tell my boss conversations he does not want to hear, but it's the hard truth. And if you're not brave enough to tell your boss the hard reality, then you're not really engineering very good.
Yeah. And I like in game. Look, I'm not a game developer, so you take this either way. But I would imagine that game development is not much different than an ordinary workplace, in a sense that you got to have great leadership, and you do have to put some expectation on things. I know COVID. Yes. We're gonna give a little bit to the COVID thing, absolutely, and why not, right? Because nobody's really worked together for a while. But with saying that, you got to have those you got to have expectations and deadlines to meet. Otherwise, it's kind of like when your supervisor, your boss leaves work for the day or leaves work for the week's gone on vacation. All of a sudden, production goes to a plummet. Because people are just like, I'll take an extra smoke break. That can wait till tomorrow. You can't not tell me that the same thing particularly does not happen in gaming as well, where studios just don't really put in the work. They just think, because our bosses and the people running the show are kind of like, well, if it's late and it misses a deadline, whoop-de-doo, we'll push it here. I mean, we know in the publisher's world, a lot of it comes down to things like hitting those targets for the, what do you call it? Like the stockholders as well, because they need to meet certain dates because they're trying to hit certain sales quotas and titles and stuff like that. So it's just, what can I say? Look, the games will come. I'm 100% confident they're going to come. And I think when they probably do, the floodgates are open and they're going to come fast and furious. And I'm going to eat my words. Absolutely. But I just feel like I'm in that lull right now where I'm just super disappointed. Like I said, last year, I was one of those few people that when I bought a Series X, I had that massive disappointment where it was like, the third party stuff is great. I get it. But look, Terry brought up Ubisoft and how she loves their games. She'd rather play them perhaps than the first party. And I get that. But you know what? Ubisoft, honest to God, like they're one of the most disappointing companies to me because they've basically been using a copy and paste model for every franchise now. They use the same engine, almost the same tactic for games, open world, same combat system. I mean, even Ghost Recon's starting to feel like Assassin's Creed. It's like I don't know, like anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but I'm just passionate. I just want Xbox to finally get out the big first party games. I mean, the next Gears game could be, according to the coalition, that could be years down the road now, right? I mean, I'm getting older by the minute. I might not even be here tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like we can't take life for granted. And 5 and 6 years on every freaking game now is starting to. I'm cool with 2 and 3 years, but when games are starting to all bleed into 5, 6, 7 years, you got one title in a generation. That doesn't cut it to me personally, but that's just me.
Well, and also the other side of it is, and this people tend to forget this, the Microsoft side, the Xbox side has only had access to the tools since for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're still. I mean, it's an excuse, but it's also a reason. You know, they had to switch some stuff over to the new tools to take advantage of the new console.
Yeah.
And so I believe when the floodgates do open, they're going to open big, and people are going to be like, "Shit!" Now we have too many games to pick from. You know.
Well, like thank God there is lots of games to play. If you got games, like it's not about having lots of games. I got lots of games. I got lots.
No,
of
but I mean, there's going to be once they get rolling, you're going to see a new Game Pass game every first party Game Pass game every month. You know, it's like, oh shit, I got You're going to be putting yourself on a schedule. I got to finish this game before this game comes out. I got to
Well. Okay, so guys, we're past the 2-hour mark now on the show. I don't want to end it yet. We still want to talk about Mass Effect. We got Terry in her N7 swag, so let's just move the conversation, like I said, because it's easy to go off in tangents that don't lead us anywhere. Because like I said, a lot of it's speculation. But let's talk about Mass Effect. Let's get back to some positivity here. I mean, one of the most revered franchises in gaming history, a gaming franchise that almost soul-heartedly put BioWare on the map, that and perhaps Dragon Age, but I think Mass Effect is definitely their pinnacle crown. It's the one that really brought the BioWare name out there. Any gamer now knows that name. As a Canadian, I'm ultra proud, to know that some of their best work comes right down the road for me here at Edmonton, Canada. It's always a proud thing. Canadians can't be proud of too much outside of hockey, it seems like. But so it's nice to know we got some talented devs up here that are putting in some work. And anyway, Mass Effect trilogy, guys. Really cool. It's lots of cool to see so many people jumping back into this franchise, people that have played it multiple times. I'm sure for a lot of PlayStation fans, it's probably extra unique. And I'll say the reason why, because for a lot of them, they missed out on the original Mass Effect game. Right, that's the biggest thing. A lot of them missed out because it was, as Terry mentioned earlier, an Xbox exclusive. Back when exclusives were real exclusives, you could only play it on an Xbox 360 for a very long period of time. Now they'll get access to that game, and it's bigger and better than it was at original. So we're going to let Terry take the floor on this to tell us how she feels about the franchise, perhaps her favorite characters, the things that you love, your favorite game in the series, that sort of stuff. I want to hear from everybody, but let's start with Terry since she's all decked out in the N7 swag.
All right. Well, I absolutely love Mass Effect. It was definitely very it pretty much revolutionized RPGs when it came out. It's just man, I don't even know where to begin. There's like so much to talk about when it comes to Mass Effect. But it's like the first game. I mean, I enjoyed all the games. The first game definitely had clunky controls, and especially when you come to having to snipe in that game was a flippin' nightmare. Remember the shake of the scope like this? This is how you had to snipe in ME1.
Yes.
It's like but it was a fantastic game. Had a lot of fun with that one. I do remember like there's a lot of different choices between your classes, and my heart kind of breaks whenever I see people say they play a soldier. Because I'm like, that is such a generic. All games you can play as a soldier, basically. Shaddai, why? No, because like all your games you basically play as that. All right, so they gave you the chance to play as something completely new that no other game had, and Shaddai.
I'm just hey. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to. I'm trying to play each and one of them to see what's the difference. So that's why I started with Soldier.
All right, but For me, I highly recommend, at least for the first one, play as engineer. Because if you think about it, especially if you want to play it on Insanity, the main enemy you go against in ME1 is the Geth. So the robots. Play as the engineer. Now you can take control of them, have them fight for you, hack them, disable them. It just makes sense. All right? You know? So play as the engineer. That's my personal take. You could do whatever you want, but that's my personal take for the first one. The second game was really fun. I know, I feel like when it comes to the fan base, everyone tends to say that 2 is their favorite, but not for me. They had some amazing characters in there. Miranda was the eye candy of that game for most players. I'm pretty sure. But great storyline. The gameplay. They fixed the controls, which made it fantastic, especially when it came. But the Mass Effect, the first game, the issue was driving on the planets with the Mako, and it was rough. And then 2, they you had to scan the planets instead, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing to us?
Yeah.
So like they definitely missed the mark on some things, you know. So, but then 3 came along, and they kind of, you know, they finally got a good balance between that. 3 is actually my favorite one out of them, because it kind of just wraps up the story, and it just I feel like 3 gets a lot of unjust criticism because of the way that they did the ending. So people are just very salty about that. And I'm like, the ending was such a small part of the game as a whole, to go and say the whole game is terrible because of a 5-minute segment. It drives me nuts that people hate on 3 because of 5 minutes. 5 minutes. All right. I had over 40 plus hours of amazing gameplay. I'm not going to sit here and say the game is horrible because of 5 minutes. All right. So 3 was amazing to me. For favorite character, Tally is definitely my favorite character, and it drives me nuts that, you know, when it comes to romances, she's, you know, you have to be a dude, and I don't like playing as a dude. All right, so it breaks my heart. So because Tally's my favorite, so I always have her in, you know, as one of my main companions that runs around with me in my party. But otherwise, Liara comes second, just because she was romanceable and Tally wasn't for me. So, you know, it sucks, but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. It's just like even I always find that the person that I like the most, I always have to be a dude, and it drives me nuts. Even with Andromeda, like the character that I like the most, you had to be a dude to romance, and I'm like,
hey, how do you think we feel? We're all good.
You know, so it's like, yes, give, you know, make sure that, I hate it. You know, it's just.
Tell us how you really feel, Terry. Quit holding back.
I love it.
I like that they give us choice, and I like that they kind of went for the realism that, you know, not every character is, you know, going to have, you know, a romantic sexual drive to go with certain other genders or whatever. That's great, but you know what? It's a video game. You're already, you know, going out there with, you know, game logic. Just give us full option to pick who we want, and not put me behind a dang gender wall. Dang it. That's all I'm asking.
Well, at least he gave you some choice with Andromeda and different stuff, and more of that, I think, wasn't it? Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Any further on to say on it, Terry? Should we pass the mic?
I will go because
Go next,
I know
go ahead.
Terry went at me real hard on that one. I'm gonna answer a few things for her. For me, Mass Effect 1 is my favorite one because that actually introduced me to pretty much the franchise. I never play an RPG like that because I'm so used to the JRPGs. That was my first one that I wanted to try a different type of RPGs. Now, I took Soldier because the thing is that I didn't know which class to pick, because, you know, one thing is when you read the description and you're like, okay, what's this supposed to mean? So, you know, and sometimes it sounds good and dandy, but it probably plays really horrible. So it's all depends on the description. That's me. But the reason I picked Soldier because I'm like, you know what, let's start off with this one before I jump to the next one, and I wanted to know the difference. But for me, Mass Effect 1 is the best one. And when I replay the Legendary Edition, I feel that I saw the options, but how can I say? If I played the 360 version, it have the film grainy thing graphic, and I hated that because I'm like, why is it so grainy and gray and dark? That's how I felt. But this one is like they took that out. It's not very, very grainy. Um, it looked like an old film. And I'm like, you know what? I like this one better. So I wanted it to see if it goes back and forth, from the 360 to the new one. But I guess they changed that, and I love it. But for me, my favorite one is Mass Effect 1. The story is really, really engaging. I couldn't finish it, but I went really far because I stopped where you gotta decide about the Krogan. That's where I kind of stopped before something, another game actually released. But the exploration. I know Terry said something about the vehicle.
Mm.
I know I was driving. It was a little bit clunky, and I'm like, I don't know how to drive this until I kind of, for some reason, that's how my mind works. I'm like, try if you're playing Halo with the Warthog, and that's kind of I got used to it. So I got used to it like that. It doesn't have the same mechanics, but it was really, really easy for me to actually know how to drive that thing. But the exploration of worlds, I don't, like I said, it was my first introduction to that franchise. The exploration, I loved it. It was new, it was different. Story, I know everybody loved the story, and I can't really, how can I say, I can't really, I just wanted it to keep playing that game. I really wanted to finish it off. I don't know how it ended up, but it got me really engaged with the story. So I'm looking forward to it to finish that legendary edition.
Nice. Who wants to go next? Who's got some love for Mass Effect?
Don't beat me, Terry, please. After this,
if you don't have a comment, that's fine. We can move along. But like I said, there's a lot of Mass Effect fans in the chat as well. From the chat, let's just get your take on it. Do you love Mass Effect? If so, put a 1. If you don't like it, press a 2. And I'd love to hear from you. What was your favorite game in the franchise? Like Terry said, a lot of people pick 2, but some people really like the original game, and some people really like 3 and that sort of thing. And honestly, I really enjoyed Andromeda for the most part, except for a lot of the repetition and a few different things. But obviously, it wasn't my favorite. But I'm just saying, I thought the game was still pretty solid. Yeah, we're probably going to hit 3 hours today. We still got to do the outros, and we're pretty much, and we still got Scrub with what's coming next. So hang on there, guys.
I'll say something real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
Because I'm just glad they came out with the Legendary Edition. Like I said, for so many years with working hospital, playing music and all that stuff, I wasn't at home a lot, especially in my 20s. So it was always hard to get in the game that's going to say, all right, 20 hours here or 30 hours here, or you want to do everything. So I never put myself in those situations, especially like WoW, because I was like, I don't have the time. It's not going to work. So I'm glad that they have come back out with this Legendary Edition. Not only, like we were saying earlier, people who were on PlayStation at first who couldn't get the first one, but it also brings the game to a light where other people can get their hands on it, and not just people like me who just didn't get into it before, but it brings the game to a younger crowd of gamers who haven't had the chance to get on these games. So I am a big proponent of new IP, but if you're going to have something that's so iconic like this, or like, Halo putting out a Master Chief collection, even though it had problems in the beginning, but it's a lot better now. I think that it needs to be done just so you can keep these iconic games and storylines fresh and letting someone else get a chance to read it. Because, I mean, you got to look at, people still read Charles Dickens, and that stuff was from forever ago, Homer, the Iliad, and the Odyssey. People keep just printing these books out and they read it. You go into school and each generation learns more and more. I think the longer that gaming is around, that more of these games are going to be like that. Just think when the next time somebody goes across screen, remake a GoldenEye or something like that. Uh, I think it's done. If it's done correctly, I'm all for it. So I'm excited to play through it. And like Terry said, I'm playing as an infiltrator. I only got maybe about 6 hours in it right now, but I'm so glad that that sway is off because I don't think I could have made it as a sniper. It'd been too frustrating the original way. So I'm glad that's around now. The upres and the way they did with the first one, if you look online comparisons of how it looked, it's a lot smoother. Like I said, you taking different stuff out, but even now I don't think it'll be a problem, but I think it makes it more inclusive for some people. With now you're not locked down to a certain class weaponry. I play infiltrator. I'm doing sniper and pistols. I turn every other gun into jail. I'm not using them because I'm infiltrator and I want to play the whole way just like that. And but for other people who want to do it a different style, I like that they have the availability for that. So we can't all be purists, but we all can be able to enjoy the game. So that's what I have on it.
Nice. Got all these takes on Mass Effect today. Like I said, everybody's so different. Everybody's got a favorite memory. We still haven't heard from Paul, and we still got Axel. Who wants to jump in there, boys?
Well, I won't be playing the new one for a while, because I've got
Gotcha.
on,
Well, you never know, Paul. Maybe someone will hook you up with that game eventually. You never know.
But I do look forward to playing it. I'm trying to remember. It's been because I honestly haven't played any of them since they launched.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really know how long ago they launched, you're like, damn, that's a long time ago. Because it was.
Yeah.
But I seem to recall, I think I enjoyed one the best because it was an introduction to a story, and that it was like, and at the time we had not seen anything like it before. Dialogue options that affected the story, stuff like that, which was really kind of cool. So yeah, one's probably my favorite, and I've actually steered away from getting into going back and playing the old ones because at least they were available on Game Pass or on EA Play. And I've actually avoided doing that because I want to wait till I get my hands on the new ones because they have made so many changes that if I go to the old ones, I'm gonna be like, oh, this is crap. Why would I play this again? Not that it's really crap, but it's just having the limitations pointed out to you make things stand out.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with it, and that's all I gotta say, man.
Wow, one of the few times Paul's been rather short and sweet.
Hey, I'm always sweet, you little jerk. I mean,
alrighty. Phantom Kraken's in the chat. He's drops $2. Good morning, Xbox. Morning, guys. Cybernox, what's up, brother? Thanks for stopping in and being here. Lots of Mass Effect love in the chat, man. Good stuff. Good to see that there. Dan the Man Cunningham still hanging out with us. Boogie still in the house. Yeah, baby. Good crew this morning. All right, Axel, jump in, bro. Have your piece, and then I'll end mine, and then we'll do Scrubs and get out of here.
Like my Mass Effect piece or which piece?
Mass Effect.
Oh, okay. So I did not play Mass Effect, the first three, because this was when I was heavily in the military and then in college after. So this is during my downtime of gaming, but I heard about it. And I didn't experience the game in and of itself. I knew what people said. So like I knew who the blue girl was. I forgot her name already, but whatever, her name. I knew she was hot. I heard about how much better Mass Effect 2 was. I heard about how it was one of the best games ever and all this stuff. And I even heard about the Mass Effect 3 endings and what a big fiasco it was. Like Mass Effect is one of those games that even if you don't play it, you know about it. It is a big deal. It is a big franchise.
Right.
And, thanks to Shaddai, I get to play it for the first time, remastered over here. He hooked me up with a copy, and I can't wait to get into it and experience it for the first time. So, Terry, what class should I be other than, soldier here?
Really?
For which game?
For Mass Effect.
No, like the first one or the second, the third, which
I'm
one?
going to play it in order. I'm starting at number 1.
That means
Okay, well, I'm
soldier.
telling you,
That
no,
means
don't
soldier.
do so. Don't. Because
That's the
it's going
first
to
one.
depend. Like I said, I recommend Engineer for the first one if you're going to play it on Insane because it just makes your life, less stressful. But all of them are good, but like, don't be basic. All right.
Wait,
Oh,
if
What if I
everything is
just
second
good,
what if I just want to
how?
level
all of them are
everything in
good
my
except
path?
for the one
I
that
don't want to
Yeah.
have any
Everything's good
morality
except for the
whatsoever.
basic. What? The second one, I recommend playing Adept, and then in the
Adept.
third one, Vanguard.
Vanguard. All right. I'll give them a shot. See what happens.
Soldier, please
I'll,
start
I'll, I'll
soldier.
review Terry's recommendations in about 3 months.
Please be a soldier.
Be a soldier. Well, for me, man, like I said, Mass Effect, I was there from day one when that game came out on Xbox. It was one of the defining platform titles at the time, being exclusive. Nobody really knew what it was at the time, obviously. A brand new franchise, but people knew that BioWare had some pedigree coming off Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire, two phenomenal titles from the Xbox, from the OG Xbox. So there you go, a little history in there that definitely got plenty of love. So I was pretty excited about it. And honestly, I think it was Mass Effect honestly changed my perception of what RPGs could be. Because prior to Mass Effect, a lot of the RPGs I was familiar with and some of the ones I kind of dabbled with were usually Japanese RPGs with a lot of the turn-based action, that sort of stuff. And this one kind of felt a little bit, like I said, like kind of like a Gears of War kind of deal, but um, you know, it's like Gears mixed with Star Trek, mixed with a whole bunch of different things. And I really, really liked it. Like I said, the big strength of Mass Effect is one, the graphics were fantastic and really pulled you into the story. Loved how you could go down on the planets and drive the Mako around and stuff like that. It was phenomenal. And of course, you had the romance options and you had everything. It had a little bit of everything, shooting. You had, the telekinesis powers and all this kind of stuff, right? Everything, like Sari said, engineering, you name it, all that sort of stuff, and this fantastic, mystical, mysterious enemies, so on and so forth, and so there's just so many memories. Me personally, the second game was a bit of a standout, but I agree with Terry as well. I didn't really like just to kind of fly the little ship and scan stuff so much, but number two was still just an incredible game. Just that's the one I kind of stands out and I remember the most. Three was better, I think, from a lot of perspectives, like in terms of obviously graphically, three was a pinnacle. Three had more refined controls. It felt a little more fluid. So the game started, I think three is kind of what number one really aspired to being in a sense when it came out, but obviously it was new tech and all that stuff. So I have fond memories of Mass Effect. It's just amazing. Um, I really don't have much more to say other than I really love that game. Do I love it as much as other people? I'm the biggest Mass Effect fan on the planet. Probably not, but I still like it. I can't wait for the next one in the series. I love the fact that they haven't given up on it because a lot of people have gotten these guys written off. And that's the funny thing with the games industry. One of the things that drives me nuts the most is companies are not allowed to fail. These developers are not allowed to fail. Not every movie company, the best directors and people like Steven Spielberg, not every movie he makes is gold. Not every movie he makes is super successful. But it seems like every time a game developer makes a game, it's got to meet a certain pedigree, or automatically that developer cannot make a good game anymore. I get it. Mass Effect Andromeda came out to subpar reviews, some good, I get it that then there was Anthem, which had a lot of hype going in and then failed to meet expectations, but then all of a sudden people write off BioWare, like this developer can't get stuff I get it. They're not the same BioWare perhaps that made the original Mass Effect trilogy. A lot of people have left the studio, but is that not the same for every studio when you think about it? People have left Call of Duty, the games still remain good. People have left the Coalition, the games still remain good. I mean, your perception of good or bad is going to vary from person to person, but I just think it's really unfair. A new team took over Andromeda. They were out of Montreal. It was new. They switched to a new game engine. By then, EA was full, like really had their trenches into BioWare and how they wanted that stuff to run. So, but listen, Mass Effect's just an amazing trilogy. I love what they did here. like I said, they didn't change the whole game. They didn't go back and completely, redo something that technically didn't need redoing. They just made it a lot better. They improved the graphics, the performance, the handling, like Terry said earlier as well, the sniping like this. I mean, how the hell can you do that stuff? You name it. So good on them. I have it downloaded or installed, and I can't wait to jump back in. But right now I want to finish off a few more games because I want to give my undivided attention to this Mass Effect trilogy and stop bouncing around. So great stuff right there, guys. Yeah, so there you go.
Real quick, Noof. Yeah. You missed the super chat from the platform live.
Oh no, I hate that when I do that. All right, platform live drops $2 in the super chat, and here's what it says: Emmy series is good, god tier, except for Andromeda. Well, we appreciate the super chat, and you are entitled to your opinion. I would totally disagree. I don't think it lived up to the trilogy pedigree, no, but on its own, it was solid. You got people that played Andromeda have to admit it did a lot of things right. It just felt like it was a title that didn't have the same direction. It felt like at some point they just threw a lot of stuff in. Like the biggest thing for me with Andromeda was a lot of the backtracking. Like it's almost like they didn't have enough content, so they like, let's go back to this planet and get this. Then you got to go back to this planet and do that. And I just felt like trying to build those bases on each world kind of thing was like oh, this is kind of annoying. So it got away from that crisp storytelling that they had. A lot of people didn't like it because Commander Shepard wasn't in it, that sort of thing. But heck, Marcus Phoenix is barely in the new Gears stuff. Does it make the games terrible? No, it's just something you just got to live with and get used to. But it looks like we might see Commander Shepard in the new game. Well, whatever, I don't know, but definitely it looks like they're going back to the old school a little bit. Because who was it? Is it in that trailer for the new Mass Effect? It's Liara, isn't it? Is it Liara that picks up?
They showed Liara, and so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and my favorite character, I love Garrus. I don't know what it was. I always liked Garrus. I thought he was cool. Story, but I killed.
He was my favorite.
In the first game, I killed off the Krogan. I wish I didn't do that. That was kind of a bad move.
Not the Krogan.
I killed off the Krogan. I killed off Rex. Was Rex right? Was Rex
my second favorite character?
Rex was on the first. Yeah.
Yes, Rex. Yeah, killed off poor Rex. I didn't. Some of those choices I made, not even fully realizing what was going on. Then I'm like, oh no. So that
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna play Mass Effect with the intention of killing as many characters as possible.
The Annihilator, Axel. But yeah, there you go.
That's right.
That's definitely gonna be a Mass Effect. Yeah, that's
right. I'm gonna turn Mass Effect into mass murder.
And yes, I most importantly, my romance. I made love to the blue women. That's what it was.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The thing though with the new trailer of them showing Liara, that I think the fan base is already jumping to the conclusion that because Liara's there, that means Shepard's going to be there. But you got to remember, the Asari lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. She very well could, this could take place way later, and you know what I mean. They live a long time, and she was young for an Asari in the first game. So
Well, all I can say is that she's not going to live for any more hundreds of years when I play that game.
Wow.
30 more minutes.
Oh man,
We're just gonna use her and then ditch her, eh? That's
Let
it.
her go. Yes, indeed.
That's right.
Good stuff. All right. Well, great thoughts, guys. Hopefully everybody jumps back into the trilogy. If you never experience it, make sure you do so, because it is, and be prepared. It has all the DLC, so there's literally probably a couple 100 hours of actual game action in here. It's insane. So it will definitely keep you busy for a long damn time. So if you're only going to play one game basically for the next couple of months, this might be not a bad idea for you. So there you go. Like I said, Failed is worth the $60 for that alone. Indeed. So let's one more segment before we get out of here. Scrubners, it is now time to let everybody know what is on the dock, what's coming out for Xbox, what's leaving Game Pass, all that good stuff.
All right, I'm share the screen so you guys can look along with me, and hopefully we're gonna try to make it real quick. Let's see what we got here.
Operation Room with the Nurse.
All right, so
did you wash your hands?
Always, all the way to the elbows. 5 minutes. Get a scrub. Okay. Um, what we got going on here? We got Rust Console Edition coming out May 18th. I'm gonna go through. We're gonna look at Xbox One and Series X as well. So Rust is coming out May 18th, and that's been on uh, PC for a long time. So when you guys get a chance, if you want to get it, because I know a lot of people have heard about it, that's on there. Um, the Sims 4, whoever is really into Sims, you can get a chance to jump on that. That's coming out Monday too. It has a Oasis kit that's all set up and ready to go now. Um, and I'm only going to pick out, just big ones. There might be some stuff that you see on
Mhm.
here that you like, go with it or not. One that's really on my radar because I saw this when the Iron Lords were interviewing the creator for Aerial Knights. It's a side-scrolling runner game, and if you get a chance, uh, look this up on YouTube and watch at least the trailers for it. And plus, it has some of the best music in there. We were talking about earlier how we were having metal music for the D&D trailer that popped out. If you watch Aerial Knight's trailer, it'll get you hyped. It's a lot of hip hop and high energy music going on. That's coming out on 19th.
Mhm.
Let's see, another one that I was really picking up because there's one game that I really want to get to. We'll talk about Knockout City is going to be kind of like a little dodgeball game that's out. If somebody's into that, Rising Hell, Guards, okay. But this is the game I want to talk
Mm.
about right
Biomutant.
here. Biomutant. Um, go check out these trailers. It is a RPG, but it is a little bit different. The character factions and everything, and how you can make your character look, the gameplay. It's man, it got a mixture of maybe a Batman Arkham series kind of fighting style in an RPG setting. It's kind of kung fu with the you're dealing with guns, you're dealing with swords. There's so many different ways you can put together all the different melee weapons in your gun. So that's one of the biggest ones that I'm looking at in the next 2 weeks. There's going to be some more, but we're what I'm gonna do is show for like a week what's coming out next, and then we're gonna do another episode next week. We'll go for each week instead of doing for what's for the whole month. Make it
Mhm.
a little bit quicker.
Okay.
Let's see. Recently added stuff to Game Pass if you want to check that out. Of course, we got FIFA. And if someone hadn't played the first Psychonauts,
Mhm.
because I know the new one is coming out, that has just been added to Game Pass if you want to check that out. Just Cause 4. If you played any of the Just Cause games, 4 came out, it's reloaded, it's adding a bunch of stuff that was maybe paid, added stuff all together in one game. If you've never gotten a chance to play that, you'll get a chance to play with everything together. Um, Final Fantasy 10 and 2. This is one of the games that I used to love to play. Me and my buddies, we get out of class when I was in college and we go sit and take turns playing that on this floor in his bedroom for hours on end. Great game. And then Remnant from the Ashes. Uh, go check this out. They got some good trailers. If you're basically in the game and you're time warping, jumping through different worlds to try to figure out why this evil has gotten on to where you're at. So check out these games if you're interested on. They just came new to Game Pass, and then also the games we just finished talking about on our list. That list I got that was off of Metacritic.
Okay.
That was, I like to go on there because they'll list the games. A lot of times I look on GameStop as well and just say, all right, what's games coming out? And I like it because it hadn't come out yet. There's no scores, so I like it because there's no bias yet. Now, afterwards, it might be a different story, but Metacritic usually keeps up on all the games. I think there was one more thing here on Metacritic. Let me check here to see what's just for Series X, because it changes up sometimes. It doesn't always be the same. Oh yeah, Mech Warrior 5 is also another game, but that's going to be in like 2 weeks. So pretty much most of the games that are coming on one, they're still showing up on Series X, and that's another good thing about having Xbox, the continuity between games. They haven't done the cutoff yet. We know it's going to come later on down the road, but for now, if you get it on one, you should be able to still play it on the other, and the systems will enhance it if they don't have already a patch for the new consoles. So that's pretty much what I got for what's coming new. Guys, check out what you like, and if you got anything that you're hearing about that's coming out pretty soon and you want it to be talked about, y'all can hit me up on the Twitter in my DMs.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah, if you got any games that you see that are coming out, perhaps we haven't mentioned something exciting, let us know. Same thing for the indie game spotlight. If you see a great indie out there that perhaps you think Terry should know about, perhaps she missed it, let us know as well. So that's going to wrap it up for the show. We're going to get to our outros here, and we'll start with Eternal Shaddai, who already dropped, it looks like, his information in the chat here, and is going to bring it up for you guys so you know where to find him. So Eternal, you're on deck.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for watching and taking your time. This has been a blast. I learned from each of the panel, also on chat. The chat have been very vocal and very active. So I'm very happy that it's all about gaming. Also, for new players that wants to touch Mass Effect, please start as a soldier. No matter what happens, start off with that. So, especially when you're new to the franchise.
Lies.
Don't you dare.
Let's start off with that one. But not for nothing, but thank you guys for this opportunity. And I can't wait for next weekend. Soldier forever.
Soldier for life. All right, let's get over to our next panel member here. Let's get over to Axel. Axel, bro, let people know what's going on. Like I said, you've been busy doing some videos, so people should go and check out. So let people know where they can catch up with you.
Yeah, so I just dropped it in the chat. You can find me on Twitter at Axel1324, on Xbox, Axel1324. And then for Twitch and YouTube, I changed it out to Axel1324 Gaming, as they are primarily gaming channels. Twitter is primarily gaming, but it will get a little personal sometimes. And Xbox is Xbox. It's all about Xbox. So, I dropped a new video this Friday. And Noof, I finally finished editing the video that I did with you.
Perfect.
So that will drop on Monday.
Nice.
So, I didn't do any Twitch streams this week because of personal reasons, but I will do Twitch streams when probably not next week either, probably in 2 more weeks. But you can definitely catch me on Twitch in time. Jesus, nice. That was loud. Sorry if everybody heard that.
All right, let's get over Scrub Nurse. Where can people catch up with you and your content, sir? Or at least maybe hang out with you on Xbox, PlayStation, etc., etc.
All right, I'm putting that in the chat as we speak. But while I'm doing that, I can tell you, got some great news. I finally got a Series X. Like I was telling some folks, ever since the podcast came out and I was saying, oh, I need this, I don't have that, everything's been falling through. I've got gifted a game that I'm so grateful for so I can finish Resident Evil 8. We started with Mass Effects, and then 2 days ago, now all of a sudden, I got Series X, and I was, guys, I was telling about in the last podcast, and I've been searching for one since day one. And so once I finish the podcast, I will go meet my friend and go pick it up. I don't have to meet him in the alley. There's nothing crazy going on. I will keep my virtue. But I will tell you guys my experience. But you can follow me on Twitter, Scrub Nurse 3, as you see down at the bottom. My gamer tag, Scrub Nurse on Xbox. My streaming will start back up on Facebook with me and my crew on Bayou Elite. Also, I'll stream there on Facebook, but also on Twitch, and it'll be scrub_nurse. So can't wait to see you guys. Feel free to add me on Twitter. I don't post 100 times a day, but the stuff I see and the stuff I like, I will add to that. I'm always on there, so you can DM me as well. But so excited. I mean, the second we finish, I'm going to get that Series X, and I can't wait. This is going to be a great day. We started out good with this morning. It's just going to keep going.
Amen to that. Well, we're glad that you can join the Xbox Series X Club. Indeed, man. Enjoy it. I can't wait to hear your feedback once you had some time to dabble with some of those games, man. Those frames. It's all about those frames. All right. We got a super chat coming in before the show closes from ATL. He drops $5 and says, keep grinding, Noof and team. Well, thank you very much for that, ATL. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
People really loving the show today. So that's Fail Palmer. I almost got a divorce after I got the PS5. So I know I won't be getting the Xbox Series X anytime soon. Well, don't let gaming cause divorces. That's not good. But then again, you never know. Maybe sometimes that's a blessing in disguise, depending on who you married. All right. He was last to get in the show today, but he won't be last one to leave. Let's catch up with our good pal, Cerebral Paul, who does things differently, plays games differently. Paul, let people know where they can catch up with you, man. Like I said, you've been a busy cat. And Paul, we also, on behalf of all the panel, we hope that you get some of your life issues right now sorted out. We definitely, like I said, man, our thoughts are with you, and we just hope that, like I said, you can get stuff fixed up there, man.
Yes, yes.
And to add insult to injury, my Series X needs to be repaired.
I heard last night.
Holy
yeah.
crap! Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Well. Oh.
When it rains, it pours.
On Twitter, you can find me at Cerebral Paul 1. On Twitch, you can find me at Cerebral Paul. On Xbox, Cerebral 921. On YouTube, I finally was able to activate my vanity URL. So it's YouTube/C/Cerebral Paul instead of one of their little funky things. And I do plan on, even though I'm relegated right now to the 1X, which is painful. Anybody who says the Series X is not that big of a step up from the 1X, you have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, let me just say
those load times.
Oh, it's just the update took like 2 hours. I swear to God, I was like, oh my God, you're killing me. You know, and it's being kind of funky. So but yeah, so that's painful. But I do plan on still doing content. I'm probably gonna take some because I am moving probably to Jacksonville, Florida. Yay. I guess. But that's going to be at the end of July, so I will be putting out more content before that. In fact, with all this stuff going on, I may have more time to put out some more content.
Right.
Paul is not going to be doing hot tub streams. He's going to be doing beach streams.
Yes, right.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to be doing holy crap! Is that an alligator in my backyard streams?
There you go.
Yeah. Gonna have to put some turbo on those wheelchairs there, man. Get away from those alligators.
Let's see. And then, of course, with the help of some people in the chat and some people on my Facebook and other sources, I will be getting my new set of wheels probably tomorrow or the next day. So I'm
nice.
Mobile again. When I say mobile, people, I mean my electric scooter, which allows me to actually leave the house. So the timing for that before the move is perfect. So other than that, yeah, I'll be around. And if you have any questions for me regarding disability and gaming and stuff, hit me up on Twitter or mostly Twitter. Also, I was going to say last week, I said I didn't have the numbers. There are over 300,000 disabled people that play that are flagged as disabled that play on the Xbox ecosystem.
Yeah.
And when they say that, there's many things fall under disabled, and I also think that number is underreported because they don't ask us. They don't out blatantly say when you sign up, "Are you a disabled person?" Yes, I am. So. But I just thought I'd fill that information since I was able to pull it. If you want to go look on YouTube for the ability, what was it? The Ability Summit. All that stuff is up there now. You should go check it out. Or if you know somebody who's disabled or works with disabled, have them go check out some of the stuff that's coming down the line. It's really
right. And just to answer,
thank you, everybody, and have a great week.
just to answer True Racer in the chat. Well, if you got a 4K TV, no HDR, HDMI, look, if you got the money, you want to go in and get a Series X right now. I mean, go by all means, go for it. But your One X is still a very good system,
Yes.
capable system. And honestly, if you don't have a TV that can really take advantage of the bells and whistles, I think basically, unless it's like I said, if you got the money, you want to go for it, go for it. But at the same time, I think you might want to wait because TVs are coming down in cost, and pretty soon, 120 frames a second on TVs will start becoming more standard. So you'll probably get a better TV at a cheaper price. And two, I have a feeling at some point the Series X will go down. So it's one of those things. It's one of those, those. It's hard to say. If you feel it's worth it, go for it. But if not, like I said, don't break your bank account just because you're, that sort of thing. The games will still be there.
Look, the One X is great, but once you've experienced the Series X, it is really hard to go back.
He is right.
Because you notice every little thing. You're like, oh my god, this is slow.
What I will say, until you can get your hands on the Series X, I've been playing on my One X this whole time, but I also have an LG C10, and it's the 48-inch, and I use that as extra monitor for my laptop, and I play a game on it. That's all that light that's coming on my face now, and I love it. It looks great. It's 120 frames. It's gonna up-res stuff and make it look better. And then I would go get the Series X next, because you will have all the great abilities of the Series X, but you won't be able to get to use them all if you don't have the TV with the HDMI and the 120 hertz. You'll still get a good experience, but if I had the money to do it, I would definitely do TV first. If I can't get a Series X now, and then get a Series X, you'll have a great experience both ways until both of them are even with each other.
Yeah.
If anybody in Houston wants a 949-inch TV, I'm probably not going to be able to take it with me. It is 4K. Let me know.
Yeah, and True Racer, like, keep an eye out for like some TCL. But TCL is a decent brand with that doesn't break the bank.
Right.
Like, if you don't, I know there's some people in our gaming. Everybody has their thing. LG, I have all LG TVs, and I love my LGs. So don't get me wrong, but like, it really comes down to budget, what you can afford. So like, bang for the buck, TCL is not a bad one. I don't think. I've heard good things from a lot of people that have them. And you can get them for like almost like several $100 cheaper than, again, the Samsung and LG options. Again, there's sacrifices you got to make, so keep that in mind. You get what you pay for a lot of the times, but again, you don't always have to go out and spend $1,500 to go and enjoy your hobby. Like, that's ludicrous. So again, it's all about if you got the money. Anyway, let's get over
real quick. Let me cap that with, if you don't know and understand all the technical stuff, the refresh rates, all that, find somebody that does. Because a cheap TV that has all these big special words on it doesn't mean it's a good deal in the end. Find somebody who has the knowledge who can help you if you don't have or understand. Or ask any of us on Twitter or whatever.
Yes.
Post us pictures and we'll tell you good idea, bad idea. Here's the pluses, here's the minuses. That's kind of what I do. That's all my friends come to me for tech support because of that. I understand what I'm looking at,
Good. So make sure you check out Cerebral Paul if you're going to buy something. And also, you can also take a picture of the model and make sure you do a little bit of research first before you invest that money, because sometimes you wait for a sale and you can get a really good model for almost as cheap as that cheap one you just about splurged on, and then you'll thank people for it in the long haul. So But let's get out of here. Speaking of things that are very cool, let's catch up with Cool Kat Terri. Terri, let people. Did I do everybody's outro so far? Yes, she's the last one.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, there she is. Your turn, Terri.
Right there. Can't talk anymore. All right, but you can catch me all over social media. You can catch me there on Twitter, coolcat_Terri, and otherwise my name is just Cool Kat Terri pretty much everywhere else: Instagram, Xbox. You can get me there on Twitch, where I stream pretty much every day, excluding Sundays. Monday through Thursday, I'm there from 6 p.m. to midnight Eastern time. Friday, I do an earlier one, 2 to 6. And then Saturday, again, at 6 to usually maybe around 9, 10-ish. I try to get out earlier so I can get up for this show and the next morning. So catch me there. I also have my own podcast called Just a Glimpse. It's on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can go there and give that a good listen. And I talk about my personal life, gaming stuff, movie stuff, all kinds of things. You'll get a lot of very unpopular opinions from me on that show. So go ahead and check that out if you want to hear something that you don't normally hear from people. It's good stuff.
There you go, guys. Awesome stuff right there. Cool Kat Terri. Amazing panel, guys. I've got to say, they were only 2 weeks into this show, but what a panel I've assembled here. Fantastic opinions and outputs. Really loving it. I hope you guys are too. So far, I've heard nothing but great positive feedback from the community. And the chat has been absolutely dynamite, guys. You got to give it up for them. Like, we've had a really respectful, really good chat. Coming in here, staying the whole show. Most of these people really digging what the vibe we're throwing down. I do apologize for the length of our show today. I think we got a little carried away in our early topics. We will not be going 3 hours plus on many more shows. I promise you that. We're going to try to nail that down a little bit. But outside of that, like I said, it's a work in progress, and hopefully you'll work with us as well. And some more giveaways coming up in the future, all that good stuff. So you guys know where to find me, always in the gutter. Tuesday nights on Gaming After Dark and this. I will fix that title. Oh boy. So I'll fix that on YouTube. It still says Gaming After Dark. I couldn't fix it on the fly. I think it's because the podcast is live. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll fix that up. And yeah, man. And then, of course, it's this amazing podcast Sunday mornings. So check us out here, and we will have another community game night here again soon. I'll post all that stuff online for you. Oh, we got another super chat coming in before we close the show. Caper Grant dropping $5. Great show. Well, thank you so much, Caper. Gladly appreciate it. Thanks, Pong, Matty Burns, everybody that's in the chat, Fastback hanging out with us all day here. Failed Pyromancer, Quietish, True Racer, Spider-Man 356. All you guys, you're amazing. Everybody, sorry I can't name you all out. I'll be here all day. Dragon Wolf. But thanks again, guys, and thanks for hanging out with us.
We'll see you again. Dragon Wolf's message. Yeah,
what did he say? What?
Is that the first time you've apologized for the length?
Bravo. Oh, damn. Oh, man. Yes. Normally, I'm always coming up short. So yeah. All right, let's get out of here, guys. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy your gaming. Enjoy Mass Effect, and we'll see you back here on gaming. There you go. Good morning, Xbox.
All
Peace
right,
out, guys. Take care.
See you later.